It's time for Twig. And what a great show. We've got Aunt Pruitt, Stacey Higginbotham, Jeff Jarvis, all kinds of crazy stuff to talk about. Who really perpetrated the Twitter hack last week? Will Mark Zuckerberg make a deal with Donald Trump? The QAnon accounts on Twitter and their ban. We'll talk about cameras because Google's camera wizard's going to Adobe. And finally, smoked queso. Stand back. It's time for Twig. This Week in Google comes to you from Twit's LastPass Studios. Stay in control when it comes to your company's access points and authentication. LastPass makes security simple for your remote workforce. Check out lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 569, recorded Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. Lettuce Cats. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by Monday.com. Monday.com is a flexible platform to manage any team, any project, any workflow online. Collaborate, plan, and track everything your team's working on wherever you are. Start your free 14-day trial right now. Monday.com/twit. And by Zendesk. Zendesk is a service-first CRM company that builds software designed to improve customer relationships. Right now, Zendesk is offering a complimentary 6-month remote support bundle that comes with the essential tools your team needs to stay agile. And it takes hours, not weeks, to get up and running. Go to zendesk.com/twit to get started. And by Roman. Skip the waiting room and awkward face-to-face. Get ED medication conveniently delivered to your door in discreet, unmarked packaging. Go to getroman.com/twig for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google, the show where we cover the greatest and the latest from the Google first. Stacey Higginbotham is here from StaceyOnIoT.com. Hi, Stacey.
Hello, y'all.
You got a bookshelf. You got books. You're really.
I have
you got
plants.
A plant there.
I think she needs a moose.
We really
we moose.
Yeah, that's Jeff Jarvis, by the way, professor of journalism at the Craig
and interior decorator.
Yeah, School of Journalism at the Townite Center. He's at the City University of New York. He's of course.
Perhaps a kangaroo. A stuffed kangaroo would fit nicely there.
We were looking at some taxidermy. Although most of it was weird. Karsten sent along a rat with butterfly wings. I didn't think that would really
I thought the Bob Ross rat was excellent. And then I sent a creature from my nightmares who does which rivals Spot for striking terror into my heart. It was a taxidermied frog with the teeth of a shark. And
yeah, it was pretty scary.
Was fantastic.
Where is it?
We gotta hear. How about this? Would that be good? This is the most lifelike dead animals anywhere, according to High Taxidermy.
Poor Stacey. We ended last week's show for folks.
This is kind of a ratty.
Abusing poor Stacey for needing to spruce things up for Rate My Skype Room.
You know, we could just with a little Photoshop, frankly, just put that in.
We could, yeah.
Oh, that's true. I could have a different taxidermy animal each week.
All of this comes
can change his mood color.
Oh, get Chuck mounted. This is ohitaxidermy.com. That's Aunt Pruitt from Hands On Photography and Hands On Wellness. And the reason that everybody's trying to look better is because look how good Aunt looks.
Look at that shot. Just look at that shot.
Oh, thank you.
Perfectly lit.
And the person in it.
He don't need no taxidermy. You don't need no stuffed animals. I'm just thinking.
I'm going to change the set one of these days, I'm sure.
How about this, Stacey? We could put this. I'm just thinking over Stacey's shoulder there.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, I love trash pandas. Yes.
It's kind of a reclining trash panda. He's got his chin on the tree stump. He's just kind of reflecting.
Yes.
He's looking at you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Never heard that phrase.
I haven't heard
a trash panda?
Never.
AKA a raccoon.
But he's a flying trash panda because there's no leg on the ground.
No, he's in the air. He is definitely in the air. That would be pretty good.
Or a very tricky trash panda.
How about a badger? You want a badger?
No.
Okay.
Too horizontal.
That's a good reporter emblem. I will be honest.
It is. You are as tenacious as a badger. I'm really liking the raccoon.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think you want a lion.
No, I was looking at an alligator. There's some caimans that were kind of like upright, and I was like, oh, that gives me both height and it's kind of a skinny spot, so you don't have a lot of animal room.
These people also offer do-it-yourself bird matting kit if you wanted to.
Do they have prices? Is there a price on the trash bin?
Oh, yeah, let's see here. Price list. This is posted in 2016. I'm going to zoom in on this here. Antelope badger is 550 to 900. Oh, shoulder mount versus full mount. You want a full mount, I think.
If you wanted to showcase the entire animal.
The entire animal.
That all sounds quite competitive on the pricing.
I think it's very good. I mean, that's a lot of work to make those.
Muskox. A damned muskox.
I want a whole
now
muskox. Javelina with an open mouth, a bighorn, a wolf, bobcat, bison, caribou. You could just have a cow.
I feel like I must. Oh, I don't have our rundown open. No wonder I'm feeling so lost. Not that we're talking about Google yet, but
not even close.
We're not there. I was Googling to get to these animals.
I honestly, maybe it's just me. I can't get excited about anything on this thing. I was excited last week because right in the middle of the show, the big Twitter hack happens.
Boy, yeah, that was news. And by the way, I was off for 24 hours.
You know who is still off?
Who?
Lori Gill's imore.com is still off.
Still off.
So is Crackberry because, and this is a classic story, they were very early. Their IT department immediately saw the first Binance hack and grokked that it was going to go to, I guess they saw a couple of people, and they somehow understood that it must be blue checks. So they immediately changed all their passwords. Which was the worst thing they could do.
I did while we were on the show last week. Unfortunate. I changed the password, and so when everybody else came back, I wasn't back. I had to go to an executive whose job this was not, but who was very nice. I don't want to say who it was because everybody would go to him and they think they have a Twitter problem. But he was very nice and he got me up. But I had to go through a couple steps to get back up because I was obviously it turned a flag.
Mm-hmm. It's not because you're a QAnon conspiracy theorist.
Well, let's talk about that. I want to tell you about.
All right, let me finish.
By the way,
yes,
Ghislaine Maxwell, her father. I've met her. Her father had very close Russian connections. It was presumed to be a Russian spy. So I don't know. I could play the conspiracy theorist. Oh yeah, no.
You pronounce Ghisline as Glenn.
Glenn. I heard it from her father.
It's like Siobhan. It's like one of those weird Irish, long.
And then Barr's father, of course, hired Epstein's to teach at the college, and Maxwell has ties to the Israeli and Russian mobs through her father. And yeah, I could do conspiracy theories.
There's a lot of threads on that one, boy.
Don't
start pulling because the whole sweater will fall apart. But just to go full circle on the Twitter attack, the New York Times did some, I think, intrepid reporting, unless it proves that at some point that they were taken for a ride. But they, I think, did a pretty good job of verifying that they were getting from people actually at the scene the story of what happened. And they did this very quickly. This was only a couple of days later. And they were able to finger a user named Kirk. A user named Kirk, who claimed at the time that he worked at the Twitter, which would sort of make sense, except that it turned out he didn't work for Twitter. He, in fact, did have access, though, to something that only Twitter employees should have access to, the God account, the God dashboard that lets you do anything. But the most, I think, dramatic part of this story, and again, they're getting this from people who are connected to the hack. They matched their social media and cryptocurrency accounts to accounts that were involved. The people that they were talking to also presented screenshots and other corroborating evidence, logs on Discord, and so forth. So there's some reason to believe this story. But boy, this is if you're Twitter and they've not admitted to this or said anything about it, this is the thing that is the most damning for Twitter. It turns out, no, Kirk didn't, in fact, work at Twitter, but he did get access to the God mode because apparently Twitter had put the credentials for the administrator console pinned them, in fact, in their internal Slack messaging channel.
Oh, that's smart.
That's not bueno.
Not bueno.
And
that's true.
No
That's
bueno.
Stacey's perfect expert opinion.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's all
bueno.
that had to be hacked, really, was that Slack, and that gave him access to all those accounts. Still, I think this kind of the unknown, which was, is Kirk really Vladimir? And were the spammy and probably not very lucrative messages just a misdirection while he did other things? Because he certainly could have done other things. Twitter says only the DMs of 8 accounts were downloaded and all 8 were unverified. But they won't say what the accounts were. I know.
Please.
If it's not blue checks, who
cares about them?
Yeah, we don't care about them.
When all this
not
stuff
the peons.
Yeah.
When all this stuff was going down, I had reached out to our friend Dan Patterson because he covers a lot of the security stuff. And the first thing he said to me, he's like, this can't be the end game. This is more than likely misdirection.
That's certainly tempting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly tempting. Dan will be on Twit on Sunday, by the way, so I'll ask him.
Oh, he will?
Yeah.
Sweet. He didn't tell me, and I just talked to him a few minutes ago.
Hiding things from Ant.
Well, he figured you would know because you're there.
You'll know that. Yeah. Dan, of course, works for CBS. He's great.
CBS News.
Yeah. Go ahead, Stacey.
Oh, no. I was going to say, if you have to think suspiciously, like, okay, this could have been something, the 9-dimensional chess, whatever, how many dimensions of chess?
9?
As many as you want, basically.
But I'm also kind of like, after reading the New York Times story, I was like, oh, these are a bunch of stupid kids.
They're
just
kids
having fun.
Yeah.
And they may have just stolen, their friends' accounts credentials just to see if they were talking about them. And that's not implausible. It would be stupid for you to plan for that.
Right.
But
so they, if Kirk, if that's who we're talking about, didn't get a lot of money. If you watch the account, you can't really judge because hackers typically will put money into and out of accounts in such a way that you can't really be sure how much money they're making. But we do have one source, Binance, which is a Bitcoin exchange. Binance said, as soon as we saw that address, we blocked it, and we were able to block more than $250,000 of transactions. Oh, so a lot of people wanted to put money in.
Idiots. But,
so it wasn't a super lucrative hack. It is like you have the keys to Disneyland, and all you decide to do is ride the train around in a circle. It seems like they could have done more.
Well, and
so
that's
if they were idiot
I feel like if you were a state actor that had the ability to have those credentials and that access, you wouldn't blow it.
You wouldn't do anything.
Stupid.
You wouldn't do anything.
You wouldn't do what you did, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, maybe it's misdirection, but it's kind of looks like just a bunch of dumb.
Unless you're a state actor that's had access for a long time, and now you just want to blow it up. But that doesn't make sense.
But why would you blow it up now?
Yeah.
Wait till the election.
Right. Yeah,
election.
I think maybe the surface reading is just the right reading.
So how did they get? So they say it was social. Did they pay off somebody inside Twitter? Is there any thought of that still?
That's not clear. It could be. All Kirk really needed was the access to the Slack channel. So it could be he got some Twitter guy drunk, and he didn't think the Twitter guy didn't think he was giving him anything particular. He said, "Yeah, you can come in our Slack, hang out with us, maybe." That's not like saying, "Hey, dude, I'll give you $100 if you give me God mode." That's a little lower level, but it turns out it was giving him God mode. So I don't know. Twitter says it's an active investigation, so they wouldn't comment to the Times, and we haven't heard much since.
I always worry about the social engineering at a company like this that supposedly should be sort of, in tune with knowing that they could be socially engineered at any point in time just because of where they work.
Yeah. Well, you would think they have a lot of training.
Had been socially engineered in the past.
2 times. One, a contractor on leaving in 2017, deleting Trump's account. That was fixed quickly. And of course,
I remember that.
Jack Dorsey was hacked quite notably.
SIM swap.
Not so long ago. But he was SIM swapped. It was interesting because it's a SIM swap gang. Another SIM swap or the same, I don't know, that started this. They do the SIM swapping with an eye to getting the OG Twitter handles like @Y or @6.
Right.
Makes me glad I didn't take @Leo way back when, which I could have. It was available, but I was @Leo before it. Because they go after those quite actively. You don't want a short Twitter handle.
Like poor @Matt.
Yeah, poor @Matt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he doesn't even have 2 T's on his, right? So it's really short.
I was I think that makes it even better.
Yeah.
I do have a beef with one of the stories that went out that said Twitter was better now that the verified accounts couldn't tweet.
Yeah, that was...
It's a little snarky. Smart
You're right. You're right, Ant. It was just different for snark. I say that
I understood it because it's like it was back to the people. I honestly think Twitter was better before the celebrities and the big brands arrived. Twitter was really cool when it was.
That's when you were the biggest celebrity.
When I was number one.
Okay, but let me put it to you like this. I'm looking at 3 verifieds right now on the panel. I want to see what you all are saying on Twitter. I know that you can use it as a marketing platform and things of that nature, but most of the time I'm looking for you 3 for information, for just general conversation, because in my eyes, you are regular people that just happen to have a blue check. So for them to just throw that blanket statement out there is like, oh, the blue checks are gone, so Twitter is much better. No, that's bull, because there are plenty of good blue checks out there providing a good, good content.
I agree.
Yeah. Like my dreams.
He's the nicest person on the internet.
Isn't he? He's way too nice.
I don't know about all that.
Way too nice.
I've been angry the last couple of days, so maybe not.
Really?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Aunt, you should have a wig. It'll make you feel better.
Well, I got the mannequin for a wig.
Yeah. I'm just saying, when life brings you down, you got to fluff
Grab a wig.
up. Yeah.
Are you fluffing up right now, Stacey?
This is me. I'm trying to be fluffy and happy.
I love it. She's just glowing.
More smiles.
You just need a trash panda behind you. Then you'll be really happy.
Oh, man. I just right over her left shoulder there. That'd be so cool.
That'd be perfect. Perfect.
Be perfect there. Just
ready to claw. Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I like that we all think that my taxidermied animal should have some sort of aggressive anti-happiness going on.
Yeah.
I think you use it as a threat.
It's to balance.
Leo misbehaves.
Oh, geez. It is the closest to me, isn't it?
Oh, I don't get my launch trash panda button. That's what I need. And it'll just come out over the shoulder.
A claw comes out from behind the screen.
It's good to give Karsten things to do. Get a trash.
He's on it now.
So let's talk about this QA thing. Twitter banned 7,000 QAnon accounts. This was, Twitter's known about these forever. They're going to classify QAnon, the conspiracy theory, as coordinated harmful activity because of a rise in harassment targeting high-profile critics of the president.
Which has been the definition of bad for quite a while, too.
Yeah. They also 150,000 accounts will be affected. Who knew there were that many QAnon accounts? It will stop recommending accounts and content related to QAnon. Oh, it's been doing that. Okay. Maybe that's a good idea, Twitter. And it will take steps to limit circulation of content in features like trends and search. 150,000 QAnon accounts are included in this.
But the thing is, folks, We can play whack-a-mole forever. They're not going to go away. What we have to do is learn as a society to ignore them.
Yeah,
Don't
honestly,
push the attention.
you have to be quite a mush mind to fall into the QAnon.
Well,
pit.
there's a picture of a mush mind right there.
There's lots of mush minds. And I would say, Jeff, no, you can't ignore them. Some of these people are actively scary and hostile and represent in the physical world. And as a woman, I would say to you, no, ignoring them is a bad strategy.
No, what I'm saying, Stacey, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. What I'm saying is, though, that it's the revision of the old New Yorker cartoon. I can't come to bed. There's a nut on the internet. And so, yes, you should get rid of them as best you can, but we shouldn't declare the internet broken and throw up our hands that it's awful when one creeps on. We'll get rid of them. We'll get rid of them. We'll get rid of them. But when we give them attention, that's what they most want.
Well,
so
wait a minute.
What I'm saying is get rid of them quietly.
I just read that Chrissy Teigen has been a constant target of harassment by QAnon in recent weeks, and they've targeted some of her friends, some of whom are private figures, posting violent threats on their Instagram accounts. Okay, now you've gone too far. If you're that's as bad as threatening Aunt Pruitt. If you're threatening Chrissy Teigen,
and why?
What probably some crackpot idea.
If you try to break into their mind, that's kind of what they want, is to be in your head. So just get rid of them, and when I say ignore them, Stacey, just don't give them attention. That's what I want. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, because human nature is to respond when someone speaks to you, whether it's a hello or whether it's you're a jackass. You're going to respond to either one of those statements. And a lot of times with the people on the internet, it's hard to sort of put that filter up to say, yep, this is just another keyboard tough guy coming at me with some rubbish.
Although, sort of supporting your point, I guess one of the reasons they're targeting Chrissy Teigen is because she regularly goes on Twitter and, bashes them.
She doesn't. Well, she bashes them for being jerks to her, and they're trying to police her because she's a. I mean, I maintain that they're trying to police her because she's a famous woman.
Right.
And if you see the attacks that women on Twitter get when they have a large audience,
it's terrible.
It is.
It's terrible.
Oh yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, nope, that's politics. I'm not bringing it up. But see, I'm with you, Ant. You just have to not respond, and you have to tell yourself, like, there's plenty of times people are like saying stuff to me on the internet, and I'm like,
QAnon is a very. It's funny because it's so outrageous that but it's also seductive in a weird way, because as you get sucked down that rabbit hole, you get all this support from other people saying, yeah, now you're seeing, now you're getting it, now you're getting it. And you get this feeling of being
just like any cult.
Yeah, it's really culty, isn't it? And you feel like oh wow, the scales have fallen from my eyes. I'm finally seeing what's really going on. And so I understand why people get sucked into it. But I mean, how much is it Twitter's job to fight this? I mean, that seems like an impossible task. Not just QAnon, but conspiracy theories in general.
Well, it's not just openly says that they want to have this as a safe space for everybody to enjoy the platform. I mean, if you go in to report a particular Twitter account or what have you, they have all of these different reasons why you're trying to report it, because they totally don't agree to people being harassing or just insensitive or spammy. I mean,
but they don't really block that stuff, right? Right? I mean, they're not very.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, think about it this way. So, if social media is at party, Twitter is like, you know what? You got to leave the party. You're being a giant dick to people.
Yeah. Do they do that though?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yes. And Stacey, I was thinking about this today too. It's so now Facebook is debating what to do with QAnon, right? That should be the standard. If you invited this dork into your party and everybody got pissed at you for it, they're never going to come back to your parties again. That's exactly what's happening. So don't invite the dork and get rid of the dork from the party.
Don't invite the dork.
Don't invite the dork.
It's less like don't invite the dork. It's like, hey,
when the dork shows himself,
manage the dork.
Let's not call him a dork, because I think there's lots of places for dorks on the internet. I have no problem with dorks.
I was trying. Well,
But
I was going to use a slightly different sounding thing, but I was trying to be polite.
Oh, so if you're being uncivil and rude on a perpetual basis, and especially harassing, I think that, it's like a conference. Like most conferences are getting more aggressive about their, civility policies, where they're like, hey, don't be a jerk to people. If you are, we're going to ask you to leave. And if you don't leave, we're going to have security kick you out.
Is it clear where the line should be drawn?
I don't think it is.
No.
And I mean, that's part of why being human is really fun and tough. I mean, when you get a bunch of people together, we've all had encounters where, like, sometimes I've said stuff and made people feel bad, and then I'm like, oh no. Or someone said something to me and I'm like, ooh, that makes me feel really icky and uncomfortable. Is it icky enough to ask them to leave? I don't know. I mean, this is why
you just learned something you didn't know. I remember the day when I used the phrase, and I have not used it since, but I'm going to use it for example right now, to open your kimono, right? To reveal something. And someone wise said to me, no, Jeff, realize what you're saying. And I thought, oh, right. And so that's how we change norms. That's what we do. Yeah. We used to call women girls. We don't do that now. And so what's fascinating to me is what I said last week too, is that the discussion around content moderation that was occurring within Facebook and Twitter is now occurring across the culture thanks to the whole Harper's letter and cancel culture. It's a process of exactly what Stacey's saying. We're negotiating, we're adding things to lists that bother people. They have the power now to say so, and we're learning. Or we're fighting.
I kind of regret the loss of such salty sayings as don't open the kimono, though. I kind of like...
Stacey, get your claw out for him. Come on.
That's a kind of vivid... I understand, but it's such a vivid analogy. I like it. It's like the camel's nose under the tent, except camels don't have a voice in this conversation. You know what I'm saying?
For a long time. Yeah. Okay. There's lots of phrases. I mean, that's kind of the same argument we see about people who are like, oh, I'm not racist, but I like those Confederate statues. They've been up for a long time. Right. They don't bother anybody. I mean, it's not your...
Well, in the tech sector, that battle now is over blacklist, whitelist, master, slave. And sometimes it goes a little far. For instance, I mean, what do you think of this, Stacey? And then I'll ask Ant, who's probably more appropriate. But GitHub... when you have when you commit something to GitHub, it's the master, and and then others can pull the master. You can commit to the master, and in that case, the master there's no concomitant slave. The master isn't a slave master. The master is like a schoolmaster. The master is the person, a master of a ship. How about that? That's a better.
It's kind of like the original, actually. It's like the master recording.
Right. It's like, and yet GitHub is going to deprecate that. Apple is also getting rid of it.
So this is where the conversation becomes important, Leo. And I would never have thought of this. And then if someone brought this up and said, this is really uncomfortable, and here's why, it's my job to listen and say, oh, crap, that's right.
Right.
Right. And maybe... I think a lot of the outrage here also is in part because we haven't ever listened to people. If you never listen to someone, their grievances build and build. That's true. And it's not like these...
If there weren't systemic racism, it might not be such a bad thing to have the master branch. But because there is...
Yeah.
Well, there's that history at all.
Yeah. How does it bother you, Ant? Or let's put it this way, because maybe it does today. But a year ago... If I'd said, well, when you commit something to Git, you're committing to the master branch.
Okay. Wouldn't have bothered me a year ago. But that's also because I think about things like my grandfather being a mechanic and teaching me how to work on brakes. There's a brake master cylinder. Right. And there's a slave cylinder. So, and just thought about it that way because one controls sort of the other. It's just the terminology that was used. But I'm a little more sensitive to that now because of, I think things are just being brought to my eyes a little bit more nowadays. So I would prefer to go with something as like the main versus the secondary. Yeah. Because that's all it is.
Master and slave, I completely agree with. That's blatant. But what about the fact that
wait, hold on, let Ant finish.
But he was a master mechanic.
But on the other hand, there are master mechanics, there are master photographers, there are master musicians, and I get that. That's a whole different aspect. They're not imposing their will on somebody else. You can be a master musician and not necessarily have a slave musician in your camp or anything. Right. You're just a master musician. So I get that. But when you start talking about having two separate parties and one controls the other, there's a better way to put it.
I agree.
And you could just say main and secondary, or main and whatever, something like that.
And to negotiate that change is not impinging on anyone's freedom of expression.
Nope.
It's just as not political correctness. It's just sensitivity.
Sensitivity.
It's not being a dick.
There you go.
Well, you said it. I couldn't.
Because we have, Lisa and I have a teenage boy, and he has a lot of teenage friends. Lisa does DBD lessons, don't be a dick lessons, all the time with them. And it's,
she discussed that over lunch one day. It's pretty
Isn't
funny,
it great? It's so great. It's just fantastic. And she'll just say DBD, and it's really...
Can Lisa do that for the whole internet?
Oh, God, I wish
Please
she would.
And thank you.
I wish she would. She would like to. Maybe not. That's that's a daunting prescription. I'm not sure I'd want to be responsible. There's just too many of them.
Not an easy task.
I certainly want to be...
Well.
I want to be sensitive. If it hurts somebody's feelings, I don't want to say it. That's for whatever reason. Even if I could say, well, it goes back to the 14th century when that's stupid. If it hurts your feelings, it hurts your feelings, and I won't say it. That's fine. It's not like we have a dearth of good phrases and terms. And open your kimono is sexist? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're saying to reveal something is for a woman to reveal her body to you.
I see.
Technically, a geisha or a kimono wearing. There's both sexist and racist overtones in that.
So
one.
if I said instead, if I said that's opening the hatch in the long johns, would that be okay?
Just a visual I don't want from you.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. Hold on. Can we fast forward that?
I just don't want that.
I'm just looking.
That's like Leo took down his tiny whitey face mask. It's just not pleasant.
And I admit I'm an old guy and our time is gone.
But we learn things.
And I'm learning, but I love language, and sometimes I love a trenchant phrase or a salty thing that conjures up an image. I mean, I'm never going to say the kimono thing again, I promise, unless I slip. But if I slip, I'll go.
Had you heard that before? That it was?
No, maybe I have.
No one should not.
Yeah, I have. I try not to use that. It's the same thing as like gypped. There's a lot of things.
That's what I had to learn. Yep.
Yeah, we have to learn not to use them because maybe we didn't thinking about it. But
I never ever would have seen the derivation of that. Once pointed out, I said, "Oh."
Yeah, same here. I was like, "Oh, I had no." Oh.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
We've all
fine, and we learn.
Yeah.
We have all had that, and like you say, we learned from it.
Yeah.
Some of us moved on.
Yeah.
True. I was like, I didn't regret losing the word. I was just like, oh, crikey, and moved on.
What about Huck Finn?
Mm-hmm.
What about Huck Finn, Leo?
So I don't think Mark Twain was a racist. I don't know. I mean, he grew up in an era of racism.
He grew up in the era and wrote a representation of what the era was. That's no different. And I know I'm going to get roasted for this statement, but that's no different from our famous hip hop artists in the streets of South Central LA, just writing the story based on exactly what they lived and saw.
Absolutely. I agree with you. So, so he uses the N-word quite liberally. In fact, it's the name of one of the characters in Huck Finn. And a lot of high schools grapple with that. I would think it's a teaching moment, that you don't cut it out, but you say, well, let's talk about what that is.
Let's talk about it. Let's explain why this was said.
We wouldn't say that today.
And maybe not have a student read out loud from that portion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I still would
By the way,
I wouldn't want
to get this back to geekdom.
Yeah.
Did you know, I found this out recently, Mark Twain almost went bankrupt investing in a competitor for the Linotype.
I did know that.
You did know that.
What is it? What is a linotype? Is it a typewriter?
Oh, Stacey.
Oh, please, Stacey. I'm
Here it comes.
Hold on. Let me Google it. Linotype.
It's my favorite. It's a Gutenberg moment. It's the end of the Gutenberg. Stacey, it's my favorite thing on earth.
Oh, it's the, okay, I know what it is now. Okay. Yeah, go
Here
on.
You want to
is
see something?
Courtesy Fast Company. List of phrases not to use in business. Open the kimono is number 1.
Oh, wow.
Chop chop.
Yeah.
No can do.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I get it.
Coming from an era where it was a racist kind of Chinese, making fun of the way Chinese spoke. Same thing with long time no see. Pidgin English from Native American origins. Long time no see.
Oh! I didn't know that one.
Yep. Drink the Kool-Aid because of Jim Jones.
I mean, having lost a friend in Jonestown from the Examiner. Yes, that one has long bothered me.
So when you hear people say that, it bothers you. It brings up bad memories. Yep. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to stop saying that.
And by the way, it was Flavor Aid, not Kool-Aid, because they were cheap bastards.
And in fact, when you're saying drink the Kool-Aid, you are actually explicitly invoking that incident.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's it's what you would say about a cult member. They drank the Kool-Aid. So
I edited the stories at the Examiner that led to the trip to Jonestown. We lost a photographer, Greg, down there, and Tim Reiterman was shot down there. And I remember taking Jim Wilsey, the editor of the paper at the time, or the managing editor, to have to go down and cover Jonestown, to go down and cover this. So it was, these are. And then a week later, we all worked around the clock. Then a week later, I lost my friend's Mosconian milk.
Oh my God, that was a bad
that
week
time
in San
stands out.
Francisco.
And I get it. So I've never scolded anybody for saying it. I wouldn't do that because it's very personal to me, and most people just wouldn't see that as offensive. So I kind of get when people say it, and I'm okay with it. But I personally, it brings back things, a little PTSD there.
Well,
I had no idea.
Yeah, and that's explicitly what you're invoking. So I will try not to. It's hard to remember all these. Okay, this one, grandfather clause, is ageist.
No, as an old man.
Actually, no. Here it is. It's came from Reconstruction in the American South to allow potential white voters to circumvent literacy tests, poll taxes, and other tactics used to keep Southern blacks from voting.
Wow.
I had no idea. Zero.
And this term is used in a lot of contracts today.
The whites were grandfathered in.
Wow.
Because they were old. They were grandpas, and they didn't know how to read, but that's okay because they were white.
Unbelievable.
That's interesting. See, it just shows there's a lot of this.
And that's in a lot of contracts today. A lot of contracts.
Sure. Oh, I've used all these phrases many times. I'm going to have to stop. I will try not to. But, I also, and I've been schooled not to, occasionally will do my impressions of various accents. And like the Indian accent for the tech support guy. And I've been told, and I don't do it anymore, but I kind of miss it.
You're such.
I like your. Is it okay for you to keep your Scottish accent and your French accent?
I don't know. What's the difference? I don't know. I just, if somebody tells me you can't do it.
Between a Scottish accent and a French accent?
No. What's the difference between doing Apu from the Simpsons or doing this, the Scottish guy talking about how great golf is? What's the difference? I don't know.
Cheese eating surrender monkeys. I remember that.
It's important.
Oh, yes.
It's important to remember that even though we're limiting our options, the language is infinitely rich. And honestly, as a writer, aren't you always looking to avoid the cliche anyway? So let's find.
So here's a fascinating story. Here's a really fascinating story. Just saw it today, just right before we got on. Rutgers University in their English department, as part of their adjustments, is going to stop emphasizing standard English grammar. Good. And The guy who organized the Harper's letter went bat poop over it.
You know who signed it? Oddly enough, John McWhorter.
Well, that's what I was just saying. So I said, my tweet said, you might want to ask your fellow signer there, McWhorter, who constantly talks about how language is flexible and we have to respect all these versions of languages and not get our knickers in knots. Can I say that?
Knickers.
Don't we all wear knickers?
Is a knicker a female undergarment?
Okay, so I have actually used the phrase panties in a twist on live television.
I'm not using that one.
Well, it's okay.
It was a moment that I wish I could undo, but
oh my gosh.
Did it come out in that second you wish you hadn't said it?
You could actually see, I think I said panties in a bunch. I said something about AT&T not getting their panties in a, and I just stopped and I was like, oh, there's nowhere to go here, but
Yep.
It's out here.
Moving right forward.
Just keep going past it.
I will recommend it to anybody. You've recommended our fabulous bastard tongue, magnificent bastard tongue, which is McWhorter's book about English. But I read his book and I thought it was really good on Black English, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was really, really eye-opening. And his contention is it's not ungrammatical. A lot of people, ignorant people, think it's ungrammatical. It's far from ungrammatical. We've talked about this before. It's actually, in some ways, more complexly grammatical than standard English. So it's a wonderful book. I really enjoyed it.
But he was on TV this morning. We're getting way off here, but he was on TV this morning, or I think it was this morning, Morning Joe, going against the book White Fragility.
Yeah, because, well, for one thing, I always thought it's problematic that it's written by a white woman. Right?
That's one thing. And then the other argument that he was making is he was saying of himself as an African-American man, are not ourselves so fragile. And I can't judge this. I cannot judge this. There's an argument that's going on that needs to go on, and I'm going to watch it and learn as it goes.
Yeah, that's good. Sometimes it's better just to say we don't know. I don't know.
Watch the dialogue if it is indeed a dialogue and not a monologue.
Yes. Well said.
This is Ants of Wisdom, Fount of Wisdom. This is the book. It's on Audible. I loved this book, Talking Back, Talking Black. It's only 4 hours, but really a great book. Wonderful book. He's really
McWhorter, he delivers this stuff with such charm.
Yeah.
I love John McWhorter.
Yeah. We really enjoyed his stuff. They're actually on Audible is his great course on language families of the world. It's also just really, really.
I disagree with him in the Harper's letter, but that's okay. We can disagree.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting he signed that. But a number of people have since, 2 people at least have since said, I wasn't paying attention. It seemed like a good idea, but I didn't really fully. Once again, we all learn.
You learn.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah. You hope you learn.
We didn't understand the nuances.
So
let's take a break. I got to take a break because we got a lot to do. And
thank you, sponsors.
Yes, we thank our sponsor, and I apologize for people who tuned in hoping that we would tell you what the latest thing from Google is.
There's not a lot from Google this week, folks.
We'll get to that.
We can talk about that. And Amazon did their Madame A Live event.
Perfect. Let's do that next.
And we're going to talk about Queso, people. Queso.
We are?
Really?
It's going to come up.
What happened
Queso's
in
going to come
Queso?
up. Well, you'll find out.
This Week in Queso is my next show. Twick. I would love to do that show. And all we do, the whole show is go,
ASMR.
Oh.
And then you go to Chipotle and you say,
Hey, our show today brought to you by a great company that does a product you probably could use right now called Monday.com. It's a team management platform that lets teams plan, manage, and track work in a centralized place. Anybody who's worked in a large team, actually doesn't have to be a big team. It could be a science project team, but anybody who's worked on a team of any kind knows that you end up using a lot of different tools. What I love about Monday.com is it lets you pull in all of the things you use and put it in a way that everybody is always up to date. There is a single source of truth. You can instantly kind of understand what's going on because it's very visual. I love how visual it is. You can do Gantt charts, timelines, Kanbans, spreadsheet tables. You might think, oh, but I don't want to spend a lot of time organizing it. And what I love about this is it just self-organizes. You bring in your work, whether it's from, for instance, for us, we use it with Google Drive and Slack. And it doesn't mean you stop using those. It means it pulls into Monday.com. It pulls into all the work. You're keeping it all in one place so that you can keep track of your business and what you're doing and coordinate better and centralize communications. It actually does the one thing I want every business tool to do. It eliminates meetings. A lot of times the meetings are just to figure out, well, who's doing what, why, when, where, how. All of that's in Monday.com, so you can actually eliminate a lot of those check-in meetings. And by the way, it's really great to start up. We're starting to set up for podcasting, but I'll just give you an example. Here's a high-level design project overview on Monday.com. Switch over to my screen if you would. There you go. And you see it's very visual. It can look like, kind of like tables. We use this for podcasting, for brainstorming, for keeping track of guests. It's really a fantastic, you could tie right in with MailChimp. You can have affiliate lists. This is just a great way to get work done better, faster, easier. Monday.com. I just so impressed with it. You can get a free trial right now if you go to monday.com/twit, monday.com/twit. I think sometimes my brain, the way it works is it feels disorganized, but when you dump it all out into Monday.com, you can kind of see, oh no, there's some organization there, which is great. It works with Zoom. So you can have your meetings. You could have a button that says, let's start the meeting right now, right in Monday.com. Email works, calendars, spreadsheets, every place you've got information. And you know what's great? Monday.com scales with you beautifully. So if it's a team of 5 or 5,000, Monday.com can handle it. And I was really pleased because when we started setting up our podcast board at Monday.com, we had a great conversation. Reggie joined us. He showed us. He said, Reggie's actually done a lot of work, I see, since we talked. He showed us the ins and outs. They're very good about onboarding. They have videos and more. And, of course, you're a specialist to help you get going. Look at all the things it integrates with. Change the way you work online. You need a single shared space, a single source of information that's there. It's easy to use. It's attractive. It draws people in. That's Monday.com. It's going to take care of what slows you down, free up time to focus on the work that drives you. And I found it's a great way to get insights by putting what you know and what you're thinking about in there. Suddenly it kind of self-organizes and you go, aha. Get that aha feeling. Start your free 14-day trial right now. Monday, Monday.com/twit. Monday.com/twit. We started using it, it might have been a year ago. And it's really been a great journey, a really useful tool that I think everybody should know about. Monday.com/twit. We thank them for their support of this week and whatever the heck is going on today.
Well, since Stacey asked about it, and brought it up.
Yes.
I put at the bottom of the rundown
speech? Oh, okay.
The best Linotype, the most amazing video you ever want to watch. It is so charming. It's the last day of the Linotype and hot lead at the New York Times. It is spectacular.
Etienne Shurdlu. I know that because that is in order the most common letters of the alphabet.
No. Well, there's that, but it's also the letters right up and down on the Linotype.
Why do you think it is?
Okay, smart ass.
Because instead of QWERTY, they designed it to be,
it's actually up and down. It's not right and left. But
y'all, 1978.
The Council on International Non-Theatrical Events has awarded this film a Golden Eagle in token of its excellence and has selected it to represent the United States of America in international motion picture events abroad.
What the hell? That's the strangest award I've ever heard of.
Farewell.
This is some pretty cool looking tech, though.
Mixed track, take one.
Mixed track, take one.
hear that clacker? That is music. Greatest Rube Goldberg machine.
That's the sound you grew up with.
Yes, because I'm old.
And I'm told there's a smell too, right?
Well, that's the hot lead, yeah.
Smell of metal. The ETAION. The most common letters. Now, by the way, that's not a typewriter. When he hits that, hot lead is being molded?
Well, no. What happens is, out of the top, each letter is in a magazine, and when he hits one of those letters, the mold for that letter comes down and goes into the slot. And then all the letters line up, and then they get justified. We'll talk about it in a second. And what you see now is that
turn down the
Linotype
so we can hear Jeff.
And it's being molded into a line O type.
Oh, you're kidding. That's not where the name comes from.
Yes, it is. It's a Linotype.
So it's putting in molds, and then they do pour lead into it.
They pour lead into the whole line as a mold.
At the end, and then that way they've got the setup, and then that becomes the press.
Here's what's fascinating. You know how a line gets justified so that the right and the left are the same with every line?
Yeah.
The space is a wedge-shaped thing, and when the line is filled with letters, the wedge just pushes it up. So it spaces out between words enough to fill out the line.
This is awesome.
Do they like remelt the lead after each?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Once you're done with it, then they take it and remelt it all and throw it back in the line.
That's the New York Times motto: "We shall waste no lead before it's time."
Yes. And you have to read. When I worked the composer reform, which I did, you get very good at reading upside down and backwards.
Oh, you actually worked one of these?
I didn't work the Linotype. No, I would have gotten shot by the union. I was on the other side. I was the editor on the other side saying, put this here, put that there.
Oh, you were seeing the result, though, of what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then how do they do pictures? How are the pictures done?
So the pictures are done by various means of engraving, where it's basically a chemical process. So
did they save the plates?
No, those got gone too. I mean, I've got some here.
I want one in the basement. Can we get a Linotype machine?
Well, hold on. I don't know if you can see. I'll show you. I have a coffee table made of 2 press plates.
Wow.
But what you see happening right now, right, is what the line composites did for years and years and years.
That's the old way of doing it.
From 1450 until 1880, that's how every line of type in every book you see and every newspaper you see was set, letter by letter, one by one. This is
so
what
the
you're seeing there.
Linotype automated. The Linotype automated this.
The Ludlow machine, you'd put it in my hand, and then it comes out, and you'll see it come out in a second as a molded headline.
By tomorrow, this Ludlow 2 will be a museum piece.
I love this, but I got to tell you, I'm pretty grateful for my life.
Each one of those things where the type is.
Thank God for computers. Jeez. You old people really had to work hard. Man. Did you have dishwashers and refrigerators, Grandpa?
No.
And then look, the other side of that window, that's the future. That's the photo composing room.
Discarded Linotype machines. Now lined up for shipment, they have been the old reliables here for decades. Tonight, 60 of the once 140 Linotypes, the largest battery of any newspaper in the world, are on their final stint.
Get his accent. Isn't that
perfect?
To edition time, a makeup man.
You see that thing that slopes at the top?
Yeah.
That's the magazine that holds all the matrices, the molds. If you wanted to change the font, you had to change that whole huge thing.
I'm going to watch this movie. We'll not do it.
Stacey's bored to tears. Stacey?
I'm not bored to tears. I think it's interesting.
Oh, I think it's fascinating. Yeah.
Now, let me move out of the way here. Can you see my coffee table there?
Yeah.
That is a press plate.
Okay.
Nice. 60 pounds of lead from the Chicago Tribune.
Nice.
Wow.
60.
Did you work at the Tribune?
I worked at the Tribune. And then this is a logo.
What's a logo, Grandpa?
Well, it's just a logo for what was it? The best of today and tomorrow, because I worked for a paper called Chicago Today.
Oh,
so this was an engraved.
So that's permanent. They would save that one. They would save this
as something you throw in all the time. Yes.
So if people want to watch the whole thing, it's on Vimeo.
It's spectacular.
Actually, we're getting this from an article in the publication. This is colossal.com. But you could also go directly to Vimeo and search for Farewell ETAOINSHRDLU.
Or just Google last day of Linotype in New York Times. You'll find it.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's awesome.
Really neat.
It's really, really charming and wonderful and sad and all that too. But yes, that's my heart, is that machine.
Well, one more thing that the computer technology completely replaced.
Yeah, and I was there then. Because the union, I didn't know it. The whole way I got into computers, the entire way I got into computers is I was on the midnight shift waiting for somebody to die a violent death so I could write about it. And they had these new machines next to us. And I was the kid. I'm playing with it. Everybody else was scared of it. They walked around it like they were apes around 2001 and the obelisk, right? Yeah, sure, I'll play with this thing. So when I get the day shift, I'm the guy who knows what a cursor is. And I train the newsroom in the concept of the cursor, which is not an easy concept, folks. It actually is not an easy concept. And so I didn't realize it. I was an idiot. I was young and stupid. It was a scab system to put pressure on the International Typographical Union to allow computers in, so that when and if they went on strike, we could still publish. I didn't know that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Without the strike news, that's how I got into blogging, is all these old people at the magazines I worked at in the late, it was 2000. And when I was interning at Business Week in 1997. And yeah, they were just like, what? No, internet?
30 years from now, somebody's going to be on a
Jeff.
podcast. Yeah, no, I already am. And on a podcast saying, that's how I got here because I knew how to use TikTok and Leo didn't. That's how what do you think the technology Jeff and I will be too old to grok? That this kid will just say, yeah, it's time to move over.
So that printing was invented first, right? First in China and in Korea, but then Gutenberg popularized it and made it work. 1450. Wasn't until around 1600 that essays, modern novels, and newspapers were invented.
Right. Took a long time.
Took that long. So imagine how long it's going to take for this internet thing before we see truly creative minds say, oh, it could do this.
I've used that concept for a long time in my talks, saying, that when they first made a printing press, all they did was reprint Bibles. They saw it as a way to take the job away for the illuminators and the scribes in the monasteries so they could print Bibles. Oh, great. And it took them a long time to figure out there was other things you could do. And I agree. We're kind of at that stage in the internet where initially it was brochures and magazines. And if you were a TV person, you made your internet site look like TV. If you're a radio person, you did podcasts. I don't know what it's going to be. What's the next?
There was a wonderful thread today from a guy named Adam Lenson, Lenson. That really inspired me because he said he's a theater producer and everybody else is dying to get back in the theater. And he understands that because he does theater. But he said, I found an audience of 50,000 people who could watch these musical things that I created. My Lord, I couldn't do that otherwise. Yeah. And the way that we can collaborate around the world. I meet all these people. So it was this enthusiasm I missed for the internet. And it happened because of coronavirus, right? Nobody was going to do it, but now it's there and he's seeing the benefit in it. Others are complaining, but he sees the value. And I just love that spirit.
I do sincerely think COVID is going to change a lot of things about how we live. Yeah. So you remember the Google I.O.? It was the one thing that was really good about Google I.O. There was none this year.
Free phones?
Last year, no. Do you remember last year?
The food?
It's a boring kind of talk about, it was, I think maybe it was the Pixel 4 launch. Was that at I.O.? I can't remember. Kind of a dull, not such an interesting presentation. And then all of a sudden this guy comes on who is the wizard of computational photography. Like,
that was last year, sir.
This guy, we even said it at the time. This was boring except for Mark Lavoie.
Yep.
Former Stanford professor. He came to Google and really is the genius of computational photography. We reported a few months ago that he had left Google. Now we know where his next act will be. He's going to Adobe. And what's really interesting about this is he's not going to Adobe to make hardware. He's going to Adobe to make software. Adobe wants to make camera software, computational photography, a universal camera app for us. You're probably up on this, Ant, because I know you're all up on Adobe.
Yeah, this is, I think this is big news considering I don't particularly care for the camera that's built inside of Lightroom Mobile at this time, nor the Photoshop camera app.
I was going to ask you if you'd use the PSC. You have used that, yeah. Yeah,
it's not necessarily my thing. I think that's something geared more towards the TikTok folks and the younger crowd because it adds a lot of extra effects to things that I don't think make your images look any better.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah, I mean,
this is done with a Photoshop camera. This was actually a really boring photo I took at a lavender garden. It was just a terrible photo, but by putting in the Alps and giant popsicles, I think it's bring it to life. Don't you think?
Sure.
I think the Alps really make it.
Sure, boss.
Yeah,
sure.
But what's interesting is it knew where the horizon was. It knew where to put the Alps.
Yeah.
You can size and move the It's AI. It's pretty smart. If I show you the original of that picture, you'll say, "Oh yeah, you're right. Here's the original." This is such a boring picture. And in fact, that's why I picked it to run it through the Photoshop camera because
damn it, I wish you'd fix that horizon line. You crooked.
Oh man.
It's just driving me nuts.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Well, I can fix that. We have the technology. Just do
please, thank you.
Just do a little horizon line fixing here.
I'll sleep a little better tonight. Yeah. But no, I'm glad to see Adobe making this investment, if you will. Because again, the Photoshop camera app is cool for a certain crowd.
There you go. How do you like it? I fixed
it. Much better.
Now you know why Ant does hands-on photography and not me.
Yeah.
I thought the popsicles were good. I don't know. I just thought,
No. I mean, and then it has the Lightroom camera app that allows you to shoot raw and long exposures with your phone.
And I've never used
as long as you have a
either.
tripod, and it would work really good some of the time.
Yeah.
So kudos. This is a heck of a move because we saw what it did with the Pixel 4, and the Pixel 4 computational photography is really, really, really good. It just makes it easy.
Yeah. So Mark Lavoie, congratulations, left Google in March after 6 years. He had actually done the camera in the Glass Explorer edition as a visiting faculty member at Google X. He was
I like him anyway.
Before that. Oh yeah, he is really. I get the sarcasm, but no, he's really was genuinely interesting. So he is now going to Adobe, and so expect some interesting software.
His demo was awesome. It's worth rewatching that demo from last year.
He showed Night Shot and all, or the Night Sight and the astrophotography and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I would have assumed that an intimate knowledge of the hardware is required to do good computational photography, but maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter what camera you're using.
I think when I think about like the astro stuff, it's not necessarily thinking about the hardware. It's thinking about geolocation and other variables outside of the camera, where the AI is thinking about, okay, how can I really make this work? Okay, now I can shove this into the hardware and boom, we got it. Looks good.
What is, Canon just announced its new mirrorless line, the R5 and the R6. Finally going, this is Canon and Nikon are the old line, big DSLRs with moving mirrors in them. And they were starting to get their lunch eaten, I think, a little bit by Sony and its mirrorless line. So Canon, and I always thought Canon and Nikon will be slow on this because they don't want to cannibalize their very lucrative, mirror camera business.
Right.
And they were initially a little slow, but this R5 looks to be probably the best camera Canon makes, right? It certainly competes with the 5D. I don't know if it competes with the 1D, but
that one is right below the 1DX, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because the 1DX is just able to do some things a little more. in extreme locations and in extreme situations.
Yeah, but this is the size of a rock, a quail, and the 1DX is the size of a turkey.
The 1DX is a tank.
I mean, there really is a big difference in size, yeah.
But it has a great weather sealing, and this R5 is pretty high. But personally, I'd like to have the R6. I was pretty close to pulling the trigger on the R6.
It's a little less expensive. The R5's $3,900. What's the R6? $1,000 less?
The R6 is just $1,000 under.
So my reason I brought that up is what's missing in this is that computational photography.
Yep.
This is all about the physical hardware and the sensor and the processor and the in-body image stabilization. And they're not putting, I mean, there is a computer in it, but it seems like they're not really advancing that. Why not?
The only advancing that you'll see in it is how it tries to process the JPEGs and make them look prettier.
Right.
Changing color AI. Temperature and saturation. That's about it.
You are getting, and I don't know how good Canons will be compared to the Sonys. The Sonys are really good at face tracking and eye tracking, which is really amazing. And they can even do animal eye tracking.
Right.
Which makes a big difference.
Late last year's firmware update from Canon to the EOS R updated their autofocus and made it a lot more reliable and faster. And of course, they have iterated on that and put it into the new R5 and R6. And according to reports, it's really, really good and a lot faster than before, and it locks dead on to the eye. I've watched a couple videos.
Oh, I love it.
For some people on YouTube trying to test it out, and it was pretty good. It was right there with Sony.
In my A7R4, it's just remarkable. So, but nevertheless, the whole idea of the software in the Pixel 4 is that you have essentially a tiny sensor, kind of a junky sensor relative to something like this.
Right.
That's a full frame sensor. This is, I don't know how many hundreds of times bigger.
Right.
And yet, because of computational photography, you get remarkable images. What would it be like if they applied that same capabilities to an incredible sensor like this?
Probably more expensive.
Yeah.
More expensive.
How much more data is there in that sensor? I mean, how much harder is it to do all that computing?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. You'd be a lot more processing. But really in order to do that, when the Pixel, they take 9 images, right? And
right. Really quickly.
They gather a lot of data intentionally. It's 12 megapixel camera, so they're getting
here's a question for you.
108 megapixels. Yeah.
Was it possible, because these were smaller sensors and smaller cameras, was it more likely for the innovation to happen here than on expensive cameras? It's kind of counterintuitive for that reason with computational.
You got to think about the cost, though. You got to think about cost.
Mm-hmm.
All of the hardware to handle all of that processing power. But again, because you got this big 35 millimeter sensor pulling all of this extra light in to process, that's a lot of data. That R5 can shoot up to 8K resolution. That's a lot of data to process.
Right.
Of course, we're getting close. I mean, this is this phone is a $1,000 phone. It's only a quarter of the cost of the R5. So. That's an interesting question. Certainly the processors in here are faster than the processors in modern cameras. But
we talked about this on my Instagram today. I try to do it. If y'all ain't following me on Instagram, why not? Follow me over there. I just did a live stream just to chit chat with my people that follow me. And we talked about this today because Samsung, Apple, and Google, they're making photography friendly for everybody and allowing you to just literally pick your phone up and hit the button one time and you got a pretty good shot. Someone mentioned in the comments, they said, I went from smartphone photography to buying a DSLR and shooting, and I was way better on my smartphone for a while.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Well, I was wondering. So we'll see. I mean, why didn't Mark Lavoie go to Nikon or Canon? Maybe they could have used him better, but certainly Adobe is trying to find ways to stay relevant in a world where there's a lot more competition for the Creative Cloud than ever before.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a little break, come back with more. Ant Pruitt's here. He's, as you can tell, our photographer, hands-on photography, hands-on wellness as well, because he's also fit. I hate him. And he's young. I don't like him at all.
I'll go ahead and tell you, I am the most unhealthy, healthy person you know, Mr. Report. You should see my
barbecue.
diet.
Oh, yeah.
The barbecue.
Oh, the barbecue. Oh,
ice cream every day, pie every day.
Oh, but you can do it because you all that hard work gives you that freedom.
If I lift every day, could I eat pie every day? Because I would do that.
I will neither confirm or deny.
Jeff Jarvis is also here from CUNY and, of course, buzzmachine.com and the wonderful Stacey Higginbotham. Do you have another event coming up, Stacey? I think you do, don't you?
She does indeed.
Next Tuesday.
Is it too late to sign up?
No, you can go to staceyoniot.com/connected and you can sign up for Everything is Connected. And it is both panels and roundtables where you can participate and share your thoughts and advice with others.
You need to get the Lego guys to sing Everything is Connected. Our show today.
I think that was Tegan and Sarah.
Was that Tegan and Sarah? Oh.
Where Everything is Awesome?
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway.
Why do y'all know that?
I have a kid whose favorite movie was the Lego movie.
It was a good movie, I hear. I haven't seen it yet.
It is. It's a great movie.
Yeah,
it was a pretty good
I don't
movie.
see animated movies much anymore. I can't understand. Oh, yeah, I don't have kids. Our show today brought to you by Zendesk. Look, service is everything. We say it again and again. No matter what business you're in, if you have customers, then it's important your relationships with your customers be impeccable. And that's what Zendesk does. It's a service-first CRM company that builds software designed to improve customer relationships. And no better time to do it than right now. We were talking earlier, there are some companies who will thrive in this environment and some that will fail. I could tell you one thing, the companies that do well in this environment will do well because they build the relationship, the rapport with their customers. Zendesk is here to help you do exactly that. Right now, just in the nick of time, they're offering a 6-month, absolutely free remote support bundle that comes with all the tools your team needs to stay agile, to keep connected with your customers in any way your customers want. Email, phone, chat, community forum, help center, social media. And yes, you can have all of that in hours, not weeks. You can get up and running in hours, not weeks. Zendesk was built on the most simple but yet most powerful idea of all. Make customer service software that's easy to use and accessible to everyone with a single dynamic help desk interface. That means it's easy to implement, easy to learn, and yet it's flexible. It is future-proof. It can change as your needs change. Works right out of the box, and then as you get more comfortable with it, you can configure it. They've got apps. They've got integrations with everything you're using right now. That's why it's very popular with companies from any size, from startups to the biggest enterprises. That's because Zendesk scales with growth to ensure that powerful, innovative customer experiences are within reach for every company, no matter the size, no matter the industry, no matter what your ambition is. I can tell you one thing your ambition ought to be: to connect with your customers, and that's what Zendesk is all about. Ask Ben Chapman. He's the director, what a title he has, Director of Client-Facing Experience and Analytics at Homebridge. Chapman says, having all the customer data in a single place helps us to achieve a high and consistent level of customer satisfaction. We can collaborate better, and we have the visibility to see and report on everything. Zendesk also improves security by allowing us to control access to sensitive content. That's really important, too. Your customers are trusting you. You better be trustworthy. Zendesk helps. See all the companies they work with, the biggest in the business. The biggest. Zendesk works with nearly everything, everywhere, serves more than 150,000 customers, hundreds of industries, over 30 languages. They know, though, that every customer is unique and every business is unique. That's why their products are flexible enough to pave the path that's best for you. You want to try it? 6 months free right now. Zendesk.com/twit. Zendesk, ZenDesk.com/twit. Take advantage of that remote bundle that's free for 6 months. And honestly, I think the opportunity is so ripe right now. How you handle your customers. They will remember this forever. Mm-hmm. This is the chance for any brand to make or break it. And we've seen a number of brands break it. So don't be that brand. This is a chance. It really is. Zendesk.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support. We want to talk about Facebook? What's going on with Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg says, I don't have a deal. What are you talking about? I don't have a deal with Trump. No deal of any kind. That's ridiculous.
Right.
There's a deal and there's a deal. And we know that probably there's a tacit, unspoken quid pro quo, right? It's interesting that for all of the heat conservatives and Trump especially are leveling at, say, Twitter, it's not quite as negative about Facebook.
Facebook isn't doing as much too. I mean, it's like, does Trump have a deal with Glenn Maxwell, to whom he sends his regards?
Yeah,
that's his form of a deal.
I wish you well, Glenn. Okay. This is now we're getting political again, but
yeah,
they've always said. I mean, that's how mob bosses work too. You're not explicit. It's understood.
No. Understood.
And that means that the threat is understood.
It's understood. The carrot and the stick. There might be a carrot. FTC.
Y'all.
What?
Tesla's next Gigafactory is going to be built in Austin, Texas.
Isn't that exciting? Oh. You want to move back?
Sorry. No, I do not.
That's our breaking news sound, people on audio. Right. That's the break. Some people have an old clattery teletype because the old days, people like me. No, we have Stacey's.
Breaking. Tesla moving to Texas.
Well, no, they're just opening a factory.
Not move, it's just another factory.
Well, Elon is not fond of Alameda County right now. I can see him.
Well, he may not be fond of Austin.
Yeah.
Being, but we'll see.
5,000 jobs in Travis County. That's pretty good. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Would you buy another Tesla, Stacey?
I would lease another Tesla. I'm not going to let Elon's weirdness get in my way of it being an excellent car.
I let it get in my way. I did. I did because. If you
just didn't like the car, it wasn't him. You just didn't like the car.
I loved my Model X. Lisa didn't.
She didn't. That's what it was.
Then
if Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Yeah.
It was a combination of factors, but that was one of them. It was my car. She didn't have to like it. I said, if you don't like it, don't drive it. Because she said the car would attack her.
Yeah.
But I always felt a little nervous running autopilot and so forth. And you know what the final straw was for me? And maybe they've fixed this by now, was the long lead time on repair parts.
Oh.
I'd heard stories of people...
No, I think that's actually worse.
Oh. I'd heard stories about people whose windshield got broken and they couldn't drive the car for months because they didn't have replacements. So that's not good. Anyway, now, okay, they're throwing some monkey wrenches my way. I really was excited about the Ford Mustang Mach-E.
Right.
And now this new Volvo Polestar 2 sounds pretty sweet, too. So I don't know.
But you're still planning on the Mustang?
Something electric by the end of the year, one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's going to be electric.
We'll tune in December to see what happens.
Yes, it's exciting. When's your lease run out on your Model S?
Oh, so I actually purchased mine.
Oh, see? So why would
we
you
never
not?
used to lease cars.
Right.
The technology, and I tried to convince my husband that a lease would be better in this case, but he is a diehard, we buy it, we own it till it, we would own our cars for 11 or 12 years and then.
That's what I would do too. I always bought my cars, but Lisa convinced me that there's tax benefits to leasing it as a company car. So,
we hadn't explored that. It was more just with technology, buying a car doesn't make a lot of sense anymore.
Yeah. Well, that was the other concern, is especially in the early days of the Tesla. This was the first Model X. Is what about battery life? What's that going to be like? How is it worth? Can you try? But I think now I would say that car would go forever. That car would go forever.
As someone driving the 2013 model?
No. Your battery life isn't going down, is it?
No, my battery life is fine. That's not what's breaking down. But things like, it's a 3G car. And
yeah.
So.
Yeah, the technology. See, that's the problem. So we interviewed, I can't remember his name, who wrote the book about Elon Musk, about Tesla. And he said, the real thing is it's not a car company, it's a software company. And so the development cycles, the technology cycles are much more the life cycle of software than they are of a car. Because a car is, it's a 10-year, takes 5 years to design. It's on the market for a decade. You own it for a decade. Software, it's, upgrade every 5 minutes. And that's much more what the Tesla's like. And since technology rushes along faster than cars do, I think it's an issue. It's kind of...
Does HDE
breaking news.
or does HD Editor have a Subaru WRX from 2001?
That's awesome.
If you do, that is an amazing car. Yeah. My dad bought it. My brother stole it from him. And now people still offer to buy it off of him.
Really?
So, okay, that's all.
HD Editor in our chat room. My Subi is 2001. It's funny.
What made it so good?
Hey, they used to run the rally car races with those cars.
Both my ex-wife and my son both own Subis. They love their Subarus.
Being in the Pacific Northwest, that is my next car.
Is it?
Made with love.
If you do that, you have to get a dog. I think that's the deal, though, right?
I have a dog.
Oh, perfect.
We don't see the dog anymore.
Is
your dog there?
She's not in the office right now, but she was earlier, dog? And then she's 9.
Okay. Just
She'll be
saying,
around for a while.
if you want to get her stuffed.
Wait,
Leo.
We'll keep that in mind. I don't think we want to commemorate my dog this way.
Right there. Just right there.
She would be cute and adorable.
We'd stuff her curled up in a ball, and we could put a little sparking speaker in there.
No, she should have her ears perked up.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Not rushing you along by any means. I'm just saying.
I'll have her stuffed and send you the bill.
Yeah. Karsten, get on that.
On behalf of the dog, I'm offended.
We'd wait till she died, Jeff.
Well,
good Lord.
They're already planning to stuff me when I kick it. They're going to put me right over in this corner here. I'll be standing with my arms folded, looking over all the shows. The FTC's according to sources, the FTC's antitrust probe of Facebook is going to at least go to next year. And part of it will be the Giphy acquisition. I don't know how to say it. The Giphy acquisition.
Is it Giphy?
Yeah, well, no, I know what it is, but I don't want to offend people like saying Giphy and then they say it's Jiffy, or say Jiffy and then they say it's Giphy.
It's Giphy.
It's Yiffy.
It's Giphy. Just accept it.
The agency.
Matt, do you have an opinion on this?
I say it the same way the man that invented it says
No,
it.
He's wrong. He had a chance.
No.
End of story.
No. I don't want Leo to have the tie-breaking. Well, he does not tie. We'd be tied then.
No, because it's too. It'd be too.
That's why
I can't do math.
Yiffy. That's neither Giphy
It's like
nor
heroes.
Jiffy.
It's like heroes. It's not gyros.
Gyros. Yiffy. I pronounce it in
Yiffy.
Yiffy.
Memory hogs is what they're called.
Yeah. All right. I don't know.
All right. We were talking about antitrust on Facebook.
And like that's how exciting it was. Nobody cares.
So how about Eric Schmitt starting a university?
Yeah,
but no, he's not starting. He's asking for federal funds for a university, which I'm like.
But even so,
he wants to start the Digital Service Academy. Would compete with Stanford and MIT to train artificial intelligence coders. It's actually a federal commission led by ex-Google CEO Eric Schmitt, plus former Deputy Secretary of Defense Robert O'Rourke. So this is a government thing. It will be the U.S. Digital Service, which, by the way, our good friend Matt Cutts is the administrator of. It would be the U.S. Digital Service Academy, an accredited degree-awarding university that trains students in digital skills like cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. I think that's great.
Year of work. So it's like Google. So Google last week announced 100,000 scholarships to train people for certificates in data analytics, project management, and UX. So as someone who teaches at a university, should I be nervous?
No. Why?
Because they're competing with us.
No, well, okay.
No, they're not. No.
That's a capitalistic way of looking at it. Think about it this way.
Well, I am that.
If you want to keep the United States on the cutting edge, we've always said this, education's critical, and we've
Yes.
got to
we got institutions to do that.
Okay, and they're
I'm being protectionist.
CUNY
I
is
admit I'm
very
being
good.
protectionist right now.
CUNY is very good, but we could have more. Well, and especially, I would say, especially if these are government funded with the goal of adding diversity to the workplace,
Which the Google certainly is.
Yeah,
Need.
yeah. Base it on need. Encourage black young men and women. Encourage women in general. I think it would be a really great idea because I think in my mind, that's the kinds of things governments should do, is really foster education because it helps the economy in the long run.
I can tell you we need money right now. We're suffering.
Well, and
I
give
still
grants.
don't think it's competitive to people like you, though.
It feels like it's not a 4-year school.
That's because I teach something useless, Ant.
Yeah.
They're going to teach useful
There really
things.
isn't a crisis of journalism in the United States. We're not. I think it's okay there. Are there a lot of H-1B journalists being brought in?
No.
I actually have several friends in the journalism world. I have 4 of probably the 100 people I've worked with. So I guess it's not a huge percentage, but who were here on
H-1Bs.
On visas?
Interesting. Interesting.
I always want to say HB1s, but no.
I saw the stats for H-1Bs. It's a huge percentage. Like almost half of them go to Google and Facebook.
Google. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the story last week about the Indian castes coming to Google? It was fascinating. That there's discrimination within Google, one caste to another, and the Americans don't really have a sense of what's going on.
Oh, yeah. This was crazy. This actually happened
really
when I was in
interesting.
college. And we had I grew up in Houston. Huge Indian native, immigrant community. And so this was actually something that happened, in my high school a little bit, but in college, it was a big deal in the dorm I lived in. And it was totally under anybody's radar who wasn't Indian.
So California, the state of California this month sued Cisco, alleging discrimination based on India's caste system. An engineer faced discrimination because he was in the Dalit class.
Was it? Maybe it wasn't Google. It was Cisco. Maybe I screwed that up.
Dalits are, you may remember more as the term untouchables, which is not, I guess, no longer. Is the caste system still around?
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the demonstration of it. It's people still try to draw it out of you. They try to ask things that said the story.
And people I have a friend who was in the Brahmin, the priestly caste, and he would let you know.
Oh,
and
wow.
we would tease him about it because we thought it was absolutely hilarious, but it was actually very important to him.
So 2 men who were Cisco supervisors and higher castes are named in the suit for discriminating and against and harassing the lower caste employee. The lower caste employee received less pay and fewer opportunities. He opposed unlawful practices contrary to the traditional order, but between the Dalit and higher castes, the defendants retaliated against him. Wow, that's an interesting cultural.
Isn't it? By the way, I apologize. It wasn't Google. It was Cisco. Yes.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
Fascinating.
challenge.
Big data. That's good stuff.
Yeah,
Jeez.
if you hang out with people who are Indian for long enough, these things you find them out, little asides and things.
You can never underestimate the human ability to discriminate on the stupidest of premises.
Yes.
It's amazing. And it just feels like it's built in somehow in some weird way into our.
You said what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's
Just the dumbest
just
stuff.
another thing.
Just another thing.
And they're all fictions. They're all
fictions. The Irish hated the Italians. The Jews hated the Irish. I mean, it's just nonstop. Just ridiculous.
I think I'll just grow up to be a dog instead of a human.
Yeah.
Everybody
dogs
loves
hate
dogs.
things but dogs have strong feelings about other dogs. If you encounter, there are dogs that are very snobby.
Well, everybody hates dachshunds. I mean, that's just normal.
No, Chihuahuas. Chihuahuas are just.
No, Micah, we don't hate
Micah
Chihuahuas.
Sargent.
We love them.
There's that text from Micah Sargent.
Well, meanwhile, speaking of ridiculous things, Amazon, the EU is going after and Siri and company for antitrust.
Yeah.
Why? The fact that they've gone after so many means that there's a lot, means that there's not antitrust.
No antitrust, right?
Right.
There's 3. They're not just going after. So let us be clear.
Okay, if you insist.
Accuracy is not good for ratings. Okay, go ahead.
So they're going after the digital assistants. There are 3. There are also lots of companies that want to get into this, including big ones like Samsung, who weren't able to. And they
tried because Bixby sucked.
And
Bixby tough
sucked.
noogies.
Now, hold on.
Okay.
But the EU, looks at competition a little bit differently from the US. We have to remember that. They look at not just, are you hurting the consumer, but they also look at ease of entry from other people into the market. And there they do have kind of a case because you have market or network effects for the number of devices or the developer ecosystem for these things. You also, and their questions are actually more around like, does the data aggregation that these companies get by virtue of being number one preclude others from winning in this market or ever coming to fight in this market? And I think that's actually a really interesting and relevant question that we should be asking.
I agree.
I
agree. EU, though, really is willing.
That out there.
The EU really is willing to weigh in to what here in the United States we'd say, well, let the markets decide.
Well, the market is not doing the best job at a lot of things. And I'm just going to leave it there.
I would submit that the market's not doing a bad job of picking winners in voice assistants. But you're right, the market is not doing a good job. In fact, it fosters data acquisition.
We don't have any we don't have competitive viable options that protect our privacy.
Right.
We are not actually having a good discussion about things like interoperability between these platforms until those platforms actually came to the table on their own because they were like, oh, we're not selling enough to people. So yes, in that way, the market was like, oh, maybe interoperability matters. But I would argue that,
there's never in the U.S. been legislated interoperability between Mac and Windows, for instance.
I know.
But is interoperability a part of this whole chip alliance?
Yes, and
called?
That's what I'm talking about, is they came up with that last December because they were disappointed that the market was not adopting smart home stuff. They were like, my gosh.
The market at work.
Well, and that's what I said. That's the market at work.
Okay.
But the terms of that market are being dictated by the leaders as opposed to incumbents and new people with ideas. So you could argue that once you're at the top, you're just dictating the terms of the market to everyone. Right. I would love to see somebody come up with some sort of privacy protecting digital assistant.
That's the idea of Siri and Apple. It's inherently difficult to do because the more I know about you, the better my assistant will be. Your assistant will be. But I think Apple has seen the market value of becoming the privacy leader, right?
It was accidental.
It was completely accidental
because they couldn't do the ad business, right?
But they made lemonade out of that lemon, and it's been.
But let's not ascribe.
And you're still locking people
Satan virtue.
into this. You're still locking people into the high-priced Apple ecosystem that has historically been not friendly to any outsiders, right? And if you were a developer working within the Apple ecosystem, you actually had to deal with some onerous terms. They've started to walk some of them back. You do have to give up if you're in the App Store, your 30%.
Well, but again, I think the market is weighing in on that as well. So
I think around things like privacy, data retention, penalties for not leaks, hacks, and sharing people's data. Breaches. Thank you. I think that the government has a role to play there, and I think they've abdicated that role for a decade or more.
I have been so look. I am not the anti-government, no government, low government guy. I never have been, and even more now. We're seeing the value of a coherent government in some situations. That's very clear. But I have to say, the government's intervention in technology has historically not been well. It's been heavy-handed. It's been inept. It's been wrong, and that's in the U.S. Late inevitably, but I mean, look what the government's trying to do is ban encryption right now. I mean, I don't want the government to get. I agree, a sane, rational government, as an expression of the will of the people, would say something about privacy. But I think that I don't know. It's not that we should try and talk them into it, but it seems futile. And it's just because government also there's such a mismatch between the pace of innovation and technology and the pace of legislation and government.
You know what? We say this, but we could move faster and we could be better.
But we shouldn't. I mean, there's good reason for government to be slow.
There is good reason for government to be slow. Right now, I think we're a little too slow. I also think that we just shrug our shoulders and we're like, it's kind of like systemic racism in the sense like we're like, who can
No, we should do something about it. I agree. But we have to start not by saying, there ought to be a government law. What we have to start by doing is getting money out of politics so that these incumbents cannot influence the law.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
The systemic problem goes so low that we got to fix that before you can say, well, I think government could solve these privacy issues. Yeah, they could in a perfect world, as I said, if a government reflected the will of the people.
I don't agree that we need to wait for the world to be perfect. You can actually see pushback from citizens groups and privacy groups pushing back against industry. And yes, we're going to get compromises and not everyone's going to be happy. But it's a start. And from there, you can look at court cases. You can come back and you can appoint people to regulatory commissions that oversee this to actually take action. There's a lot of flexibility that will come in once we have a law, even if that law isn't perfect.
Well, that's a good point. In the California Privacy Act, which is now rolling out, started July 1st, we're starting to see some, I think, beneficial effects from it.
It started January, actually. They decided to start enforcing it on – the DA said he would start enforcing it as of July 1st.
Right.
I know that's a tiny quibble, but it's worth –
Well, nobody paid attention to it until this month, and then all of a sudden I'm noticing some effects. You paid attention to it. And as a Californian, I paid attention. Actually, the guy who came up with it, I think you told me this, the guy who came up with it and was defeated by the legislature, they said, oh, God, no, we can't let you do this, is back. He had made a deal. Okay, I'll take my initiative off the ballot since you're going to do it. Legislature did their thing. And I guess he's not happy because it's back on the ballot in November. And it's a much more draconian privacy. I should look into it so I know how to vote. I just ask you, would you do that for me, Stacey?
I'll go look at that. I have to look at it anyway.
Let me see if we can look it up because it's coming in November. Prop 20,
I know what you're talking about. I just haven't seen the.
It'll be one of our fabulous propositions. Is this the one? Yeah. California Personal Information Law and Agency Initiative, Prop 24. Expand the state's consumer data privacy laws, including provisions to allow consumers to direct businesses not to share their personal information. Removes the time period in which businesses can fix violations before being penalized. And in other words, do it right now. And creates the privacy. Yeah, well, creates the Privacy Protection Agency to enforce the state's consumer privacy laws.
Oy.
Yeah, so it's even more extreme.
It's just we don't like the big companies, and we're going to go after them, and we're going to find another way to go after them. What does it really add in protection? It's not there.
This is Alistair McTaggart. Now, can I use a Scottish accent for him?
No.
Alistair McTaggart. San Francisco.
What if he's not Scottish?
With a name like Alistair McTaggart is a San Francisco-based real estate developer. He filed this ballot initiative back in 2018. It was withdrawn after the California state legislature passed it. McTaggart.
See, I enjoy hearing Leo. I enjoy that accent. So it's a problem. It feeds to me. Yeah.
He said, the CCPA of 2018 is a great baseline, but I think there are additional rights Californians deserve.
You're too good at this.
And you guys are shite.
He is, yeah.
The only thing I want to make sure is they can't undo the act. There's basically unlimited resources on one side of the fight. If you don't do anything, they'll win eventually. So, you know what? It sounds like his heart's in the right place. You could correct inaccurate personal information on request. You can obtain permission. You have to obtain permission from a parent or guardian before obtaining information about kids younger than 13. We've always had that.
And those are in GDPR.
Yeah, obtain permission before collecting data from consumers who are younger than 16, so they're going to expand that. Provide consumers with an opt-out option for having their sensitive personal information as defined in law used or disclosed for advertising or marketing. Fair enough. And businesses may not share a consumer's personal information if the consumer so requests it. Seems like that's already in the CCPA.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Some of those things, the CCPA is not all of that.
There would be, if this passes, and by the way, I expect it will, a California Privacy Protection Agency. And, here's the thing. It removes the ability of businesses to fix violations before being penalized. So there's no warning.
Yeah, so that I think is ridiculous. It's
like you're going to be penalized. You did it.
We're just trying to penalize you. We're trying to see you slip up and penalize you.
Yeah.
What's the point of the law? The point is to get the right behavior. So if you get the right behavior, that should be a success. Penalties aren't the point.
Yeah.
But that's the way we tend to look at it in America in so many ways.
And of course, as California goes, somewhat goes the world, because we're a big economy and companies want to get into California. So, Alistair, I'm with you. I'm with you, laddie. He says, especially post-COVID, people are going to be more sensitive to privacy concerns. I feel strongly, and polling shows Californians want more control over their information.
The story's going on twice as long as it otherwise would.
I know, just because of the accent.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop.
We can talk about Queso soon. You know, we got that waiting there for us.
I have a great story that's built for Stacey Higginbotham, made for Stacey, and I'm going to do that next.
I think I know what it is.
But first, I want to talk about Roman. Now, look, I know you, Jeff, and I understand how important this is, guys.
I have discussed it on this very show.
Absolutely. And it's not just ED. Guys are not good about going to the doctor, not good about getting health care. I bet you Queen Pruitt kind of is pushing you out the door saying, would you go to the doctor? But I know, Aunt, as a kid that you were brought up, I bet you anything, there's no crying in baseball. Rub it, don't show any pain, put some dirt on it, right?
I plead a fifth.
Yeah, no, I bet. That's why we're supposed to be stoic, but that's not necessarily the best for our health.
So true.
Yeah. So we put up with it. And that's what's so cool about Roman. They've spent the last few years building this digital platform, literally a health clinic for men online that can connect you with a doctor licensed in your state. And it's a real doctor and it's real medical care. I want to really emphasize that. This is not a prescription mill. This is not overseas. You're going to get genuine medication. You're going to get genuine care from a real doctor. And I have to tell you, when it comes to sexual health, this can be very embarrassing. Anybody who's dealt with erectile dysfunction knows it's hard to talk about it in person, right? But this is a great way to do it. A simple, convenient solution to get the treatment you deserve and need without leaving your home. Thanks to Roman. And it's not just sexual health, hair and skin, dandruff and eczema, daily health, prostate health, bone health. I've been taking, as you get older, testosterone drops. I've been taking and these are over-the-counter testosterone supplements, herbs and things, and they're great. I love it. They have medicine too, and that's what's great for a variety of masculine conditions. No need to be shameful, no need to suffer. Just grab your phone, grab your computer, complete a free online visit. You'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. The doctor will do a full workup. If he decides treatment's right for you, your medication will be shipped to your door. Free 2-day shipping. It's discreet, unmarked packaging. Don't worry, the neighbors aren't going to see. And I love this. You get free unlimited follow-ups with your doctor anytime. If you have questions or you want to adjust your treatment plan, these are great people doing God's work. This is important. With Roman, there are no commitments. You can cancel at any time. But look, get some relief. Let Roman be the source of your wellness. It's perfect for our times. If you're struggling with ED, don't go to the doctor. Go to GetRoman.com/twig. Your doctor's waiting there for you for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. GetRoman.com/twig. GetRoman.com/twig. And we thank Roman so much for supporting our show. So, Softbank spent a lot of money.
This is the story for Stacey.
Yeah.
This is the one I wanted. When I saw this and put it, I said, I want to hear what Stacey has to say about this.
They spent a lot of money, $32 billion to buy ARM not so long ago, a couple of years ago, 2016.
4 years ago.
Yeah, 2016.
Then they had this little thing called
WeWork, which didn't work, and they lost a lot of money. And they're thinking IPO, they're thinking sale. But this is the really interesting story. And, I don't know how much this rumor is real. I don't know what the regulatory issue.
They hired a bank.
No, I know that that's what SoftBank is doing with ARM. But the rumor is Nvidia is actively seeking to acquire
So this
ARM.
is interesting because Nvidia does have an ARM license, and Nvidia is
They got the money.
So they have the money. They don't have an application processor business, which is ARM's big business right now. ARM's chip designs. It doesn't actually make chips. It only designs them and licenses them out to other chip
Which, by the way,
firms.
is Nvidia's business as well, isn't it?
No,
They're a
Nvidia
foundry.
actually. Okay, they're a fabless semiconductor company.
Fabless,
So
okay.
when you're fabless, you design your own chips. So Nvidia does design its own GPUs. It has its own architectures for those. And then it contracts out to have them manufactured.
Okay.
ARM actually does not design a chip. They design the architecture, and they license that out to companies who design the actual chip. And then those get So that's what ARM does. The ARM's architecture has competed forever. Okay, maybe since the early 90s, late 90s, sometime in the 90s.
That's forever.
They were designed, yeah.
Stacey was about a year old then, yeah. To her, it's forever. To me, it's yesterday, but go ahead.
And they were actually designed, Apple actually was, Apple and Acorn were one of the founding
That's right.
creators and funders of the original ARM architecture. Was designed to be lower power and for general purpose compute. Intel, on the other hand, was like, we will be GPUs and we will suck all the power and we will be like powering your PCs. And that worked for a while. And then ARM came up when smartphones became big. They had the low power for any battery powered devices. They also made microcontrollers, which are in the Internet of Things. And so that's why SoftBank bought them. SoftBank bought them because they saw that power was not the big issue. Power consumption was. And ARM has a lock on that. Intel's trying. They're not going anywhere. And there's also the rise of graphics chips. So if you look at NVIDIA, they have the hottest silicon for super high-end AI type computing, right? Graphics processors, they can just run a bunch of those. They're inside supercomputers, blah, blah, blah. So they've got the power on lock. ARM has the power savings on lock. So getting NVIDIA and ARM together is kind of like leaving Intel kind of in this middle gray area where I don't know whether that's going to be awesome or not. So it makes sense. It would not cause the scrutiny like an Intel ARM collab would, because the two architectures would be very anti-competitive, I would assume. It also would possibly cause less consternation in the industry because ARM licenses their chips to Apple, Amazon, Google. Intel probably has a license. I don't know. Qualcomm, NXP, everybody in the chip industry. So if one other company bought, ARM, they'd be like super competitive. You'd be like, I don't want that. So NVIDIA is kind of interesting because they don't have a lot of head-to-head competition in the graphics space except for Intel.
One of the reasons it's, and by the way, this story is from Bloomberg, Mark Gurman, among others. And of course, we know him well from his Apple reporting for Bloomberg. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons this is credible is SoftBank did used to own a fairly big chunk, a $4 billion stake in ARM. Not ARM, in NVIDIA, I'm sorry. So they do have a relationship with NVIDIA. They no longer hold any NVIDIA stock, apparently. Also, the reason ARM sold to NVIDIA back in 2016, the reason ARM sold to SoftBank back in 2016 is because SoftBank wasn't considered in the space. It wasn't a competitor. Right. So it was a logical sale because there was no regulatory issue with SoftBank owning them. I think there'd be more regulatory issue. At least NVIDIA's in the same business as ARM, but you're right. It's not anti-competitive.
It's the most neutral of the people who have ARM licensees.
Yeah.
I still don't think
apparently SoftBank did also approach Apple. That's maybe where Mark Gurman came in on this story. But Apple, I don't think, was interested. Apple does not typically do this.
Likely to make money or lose money on this deal?
Oh, they'll make money. They bought it for $32 billion. And it's probably going to go for $100 billion, I would guess.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You really?
Yeah. Maybe not.
100.
There's a lot. There's a lot of upside to ARM now that Apple's going to be a big licensee, right?
Well, Apple has been a licensee for a long time. The iPhone has an ARM-based application processor in it and has forever. And then they took an architecture license to build their own Bionic or whatever they're calling their chips. So putting it in the MacBook, that's just kind of like we knew that was going to happen eventually, right? I don't know.
I think it's here's why I would say it is a big deal. You're right. Obviously, Apple's not new to ARM, as you said. They founded them, but it's a big deal because it's now going to be on desktop computing. Also, we see other moves to putting it in servers. Intel is showing some real weakness, and I think that ARM has a big upside. Well, maybe not 100 billion, but I think ARM has a big upside.
Okay. ARM has been playing for servers, and they're finally just starting. They've been playing that game since 2010.
Right.
Okay, so it's 10 years in the making for them to actually get anywhere, and they're just starting to get the software inside. The challenge for ARM is actually going to be RISC-V is a new architecture that is an open source architecture that's coming out, and we're seeing companies come back to ARM and say, hey, those licensing fees, I think they're a little high, and we're evaluating doing a RISC-V processor.
That ARM has been raising its licensing fees, haven't they?
I know, and that's the squeeze for cash. So I really think it's
I also think there's a synergy. The market will see a real synergy with NVIDIA because NVIDIA doesn't have
Did you just unironically use the word synergy?
I think this is one of the few places where it's safe to use. Let's open the kimono and take a look. Ooh.
Oh, boy.
ARM actually has a graphics processor. They have the Mali graphics processor.
But they don't have a CPU. They don't have a general purpose processor. So,
that's the
ARM
application processor.
NVIDIA doesn't. NVIDIA doesn't. I'm sorry. So
NVIDIA does not.
So
but
that's the
they
synergy.
Have a one.
I think NVIDIA, NVIDIA's big business lately has been AI, which is a separate thing from what ARM's doing. I think
NVIDIA has the power.
That's right.
ARM has the power.
But there's
savings.
the synergy, exactly.
Right.
And I think it's conceivable that NVIDIA would like to. We got a wounded player here. We got Intel limping around. I think NVIDIA sees this as a big opportunity to really jump way ahead. So I think you're going to have a high premium on this, but that's just me. I'm not exactly Jim.
What happens to all the licensing that ARM has done? Does NVIDIA try to shut that off or
no?
No.
That's
how they make money.
Literally
that's
their
money.
business model.
Yeah,
that's to make money. Right? Okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't be, and truthfully, maybe it isn't as valuable because they wouldn't be getting any intellectual property they don't already license.
Have access to.
Yeah.
Right.
They just become the collector of the license fees. But I think that I think it's worth more than $32 billion. I think it might be 2x, if not 3x.
Yeah, at 2x is about what I was thinking.
Well, that's still a pretty hefty payday.
Yeah, nice payday. They've earned it.
They need it. How much did they lose on WeWork? Do you know?
Oh man, I passed one of those offices recently.
How much did they write off?
A $6.5 billion loss.
Whew. Right. So, 60 million profit on ARM isn't going to make up for that.
Well, wait a minute. A $17.7 billion loss when you combine Uber.
Oh, that's right. They are tied to Uber.
Yowza, that's
now, this is a $100 billion fund, the Vision Fund. And they lost 17%, almost 18% of their value on 2 of their investments. So,
yikes.
That's a record 1.36 annual operating loss. And then here's a great picture of Masayoshi's son with the graph you never want to see.
That's like the politician's rule: never wear a hat.
Yeah.
Never stand in front of anything going down in a graph.
Arrow. Now, truthfully, this slide is unfair because you can see that there's more to it. There's a minus sign. Still. And there's an equal sign. But
boss, don't stand there.
Don't stand there, boss. They should have. Son, please. Please. So, yeah. Interesting. Do you think there'd be regulatory issues with an Nvidia acquisition of ARM?
I don't know. It depends on how they look at the chip market.
Right.
I'm guessing
it's still pretty competitive.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the issue really is how will ARM's customers, how many of them will look at Nvidia and feel threatened and then turn to their own processor? Well,
and it may be those customers who yell and scream saying, we don't want Nvidia we don't think Nvidia is a good steward for these licenses. Did you know that Kosovo, this must be your story.
It is. I just found it fascinating. Yeah. It was from Ben Evans' newsletter.
Yeah. I thought we had talked about this before.
Oh, we did? Oh, I didn't know that.
Maybe not. Tell me if you remember this. That a couple of years ago, electric clocks in Europe began falling behind. They lost 3 minutes in January, 3 minutes in February. In March, the Brussels-based European Network of Transmission System Operators of Electricity issued an apology. The reason is these clocks are tied to the cycle, the 60 hertz cycle, or maybe in Europe it's 50 hertz. I don't know what the cycle is. In the U.S. it's 60 hertz. And so electric clocks in countries count on that regular cycle to time themselves. Oven timers, alarm clocks, losing time because the grid is ratcheting their frequencies up, actually down, and then they ratcheted them up to speed up the continent's clocks to fix it. They found out, I think we had that story, but now we know why. The power fluctuations are being caused by Kosovo. North Kosovo. Is there a South Kosovo? Okay, North Kosovo. Since 2015, its major city, Mitrovica, had been under the control of Sprska Lista, a mafia masquerading as a political party.
We know what that's like.
I never heard of that before. Around the time Srpska came to power, North Kosovo's electricity consumption surged. The region now requires 20% more power than it did 5 years ago. Why? Well, Bitcoin and Ethereum rigs. Bitcoin miners had taken over the region from shabby apartment blocks of Mitrovica to the cellars of mountain villages. Cryptocurrency mining.
Because the power was free.
Because they weren't charging for power. I love that. Is that you? Is that your thunder there?
Yes, it is.
You got electricity coming out of the air, dude.
Wow. Again, another storm.
Yep.
I know. I've done it again.
Why is the electricity free in Kosovo?
because the party, it's almost like kind of Venezuela. The party wanted to stay in charge of everything, the mob, and so they just made a whole bunch of stuff free.
Oh, interesting. See, sometimes mob rule is not bad.
Well, that's what who was it in Medellin?
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Yeah, he would give people money to say, "Oh, this is okay. I'm getting money," and there was a drug cartel there.
Yeah,
why can't I think his name?
Not El Chapo. The
Narco.
guy before. Yeah, the guy before him.
Narco.
Yeah.
That's it. Narco.
No, but that's not his name.
Pablo Escobar?
Escobar.
Thank you, Pablo Escobar.
Escobar. We watched. Lisa is such a fan of narco shows that we have watched every version of the Pablo Escobar story. I know. I don't know why.
Andrew too. We
Pablo,
have so many
you're gonna
books about
die.
this.
Really? What is it about that fascination? That's interesting.
I don't know. He's fascinated by Mexican drug lords and Cold War CIA spies.
I'm a fan of that, actually. That goes to John le Carré.
Yeah, not in his
Anyway, so the party's in charge. So there's free power there. So the crypto people realize, what can you do with free power? Mine
Bitcoin.
Cyber.
It's Bitcoins.
So
is Bitcoin going anywhere?
Only up, buddy. Buy now. In fact, I have a wallet you could buy for a good price. I'll give you a fair price.
If you put his thumbs in screws, he still won't remember what the password is.
Actually, technically, Florence Ion owns it. Technically,
Yeah, she owns it. That's right.
Yeah,
Could you be hypnotized to find out the password?
I'm open to anything. I don't think I can be hypnotized. I've tried. I actually went to a hypnotherapist for weight loss for a long time. Paid the guy a lot of money for like 10 sessions. Never really went under, I don't think. So
Okay. Hey, what about things? Are we at things yet?
Yeah,
No,
let's
we haven't
do
done
that.
The changelog.
No, changelog. Oh crap! Let's do the Google changelog.
The Google changelog.
Google's going to use authenticated logos to reduce phishing and spam. Google Area 1.
I found this interesting.
Okay, now we got to stop. What?
Logo space, right? So now you got a verified logo.
That's the Google changelog. No, go ahead.
Don't forget, we got Queso coming, folks. We got Queso coming.
I know, we're not done yet.
No, we got Queso. I just found it interesting that there's now logo space, that you're going to have a place where logos become verified and okay, never mind. The next story.
You know, there are places I keep getting, like banks do this, where they say, okay, this is your image. If you try to log on to this bank and you don't see this image, it's not your bank.
That's right.
Does that do anything? First of all,
not unless there's an intermediary that confirms the image.
Yeah, you got to remember your image is a spoon.
Oh, it's a spider, right?
Yeah, you got to remember that. And then you're supposed to note the next time you go to the bank, if you don't see the spoon, oh, it's not your bank. Does that work?
No.
I can never remember my image.
I like it.
Do you remember your
the
images?
idea of it.
Do you have a notebook full of the images that you're supposed to look for?
Not every site does that, but I like the idea of just trying to make you think twice about hitting login after you typed in your credentials into some mysterious field, especially with all of the phishing crap.
Okay. I think this is kind of like that. Google's going to use Entrust Data Card and DigiCert, two CAs, to verify these images. It's called BIMI, this technology, BIMI, brand indicators for message identification. It will make recipients more confident about the source of the email. I think it's the same idea. Like you see an image. Yeah. Oh, that must be me.
The logo. The logo is verified.
Is it the logo?
Yeah.
Like what's the CNN logo there?
Yeah, like nobody could steal that? I don't get it. Yeah.
Is it individualized for the
Google will
recipient,
understand
or is
if
it
it is a
individualized
stolen
for the
logo.
sender?
Sorry.
It's individualized. I think you're right. I think there must be some underlying code that Google's validating.
Google will recognize.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's more than just that image, because I could easily copy and paste this image, right? Look, I got it right there. So it must be more than that. But that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. That's an interesting.
That was moderately. I put in 3 things in the changelog today, so now you're mad at me. I put things in the changelog.
Not mad at you at all. Google Area 120
trying to help.
This is a new way to shop online. It's not only is it fun, it's entertaining. It's called Shoploop. Let's watch.
It's TikTok for shoppers.
You type shoploop.app. There's a face cream. So it's TikTok, and then it's like, are these ads?
Yeah.
But they're like influencers saying, oh, if you just put this on. Seems to be very focused on makeup. I will volunteer to do this with Bluetooth earbuds. Or, what's that?
Or face masks.
Or oh yeah, I could really. Shoploop. Okay, that's interesting.
How long do we think this will last?
I find it annoying, but then I'm not the audience for this. A video shopping platform. Amazon's kind of doing this too. You know, you can do, as an influencer, you can do a shopping stream on Amazon. They have home shopping streams now, yeah. So I think this is Google's response. Google Maps offers end-to-end navigation with built-in bike share locations. Now, New Yorkers are going to love this because it's city bike, but a lot of cities now have built-in
It says, you know, I want to go from here to there. Okay, walk from here to there, then get the bike, and then take it to there where you put the bike away, and then walk again.
Perfect.
Yes.
Because you have to know where to get the bike and where to leave the bike. And that's a really good. So it'll be in Chicago, New York, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., London, Mexico City, Montreal, Rio, Sao Paulo, and Taipei. That's cool. That's really cool. All right, Google.
No Charlotte.
No Charlotte. Are you disappointed?
I'm a little surprised because Charlotte is a city bike city.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. Well, maybe they'll expand that.
Yeah, get a lot of use of those bikes there. At least I used to.
New tools on search on your mobile device can help you find a mortgage. If you type in mortgage, you will get more information about mortgages. You will get a whole, see the tabs up at the top? Rates, refinance, process.
Stacey could have used this.
News, relief. This is nice. This is financial information from a trusted source. Google. They even have a mortgage calculator. Look at that. Built in.
Now, I do like that sort of trimming the fat for all of the information that's out there, because it could be quite overwhelming for someone trying to get into this for the first time.
So I wonder if they'll be doing more of this. This is after you do the search, you'll get the search results. At the bottom of the page, you'll get more information, kind of like a knowledge graph, with tools that you can use to get more information about mortgage. That's interesting. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Would you like to become part of a global documentary produced by Ridley Scott? Life.
Can I be
in
the monster?
Day. This is actually not a new idea.
Not at all.
We all know A Day in the Life, right? That's a great photo series. My friend, he's a wonderful photographer just down the road, a piece in Sausalito, did. There was a whole bunch of Day in the Life books. Now and I think they've even done this on YouTube before, I feel like. So on July 25th, 3 days from the day we're taping.
Rick Smolin?
Rick Smolin, that's who I was thinking of. Yeah, thank you.
My friend, too. Yes.
Oh, Rick's great, isn't he?
He's wonderful, just a sweetheart.
Yeah, really love Rick. So this is, his idea, and the Day in the Life books were great. But this is now with video. So coming Saturday, film your day. You could be part of a global documentary.
All of us at home.
Yeah, it's not going to be that interesting.
No.
It depends on the home. Depends on the home.
And so, yeah, this is interesting. So they're going to get a ton of footage, which is going to be challenging. But it will be a time capsule of the worst year in the world ever in history. There's filming requirements and how you can take part. You'll need to comply with, there's appearance releases. You got to print out forms. Yep. No, you don't need a red.
Yeah, you do. You need a red.
You need a red? It says,
I'm kidding.
You got to get permission to film in some locations. Don't film trademarks or protected works. Do not use music.
Of course.
Do not
because YouTube will take down the Google thing.
That's right. Know how personal information will be collected, used, and shared. So just, learn about data protection. Be careful and don't break the law, Ant.
People that are used to submitting stock photography and stock
typical,
video,
right?
This would be a breeze to them.
Yeah, that's
because it's the same.
Would you be
type
interested in
of,
doing this?
If I had a fascinating life, sure. But we all know my life's pretty boring.
Don't you think that people jazz it up for stuff like this?
Yeah, most people do.
They go take a naked picnic and grab your smartphone or
it's
camera.
no different from the folks on Instagram living their air quotes best life.
Their best life. It says you might record a typical day going to work, connecting with family, being with friends, or maybe something special is happening Saturday. Your wedding day, or you have important news, or you're having a baby. You could show us lockdown in your city. This is kind of cool. Yeah. How much footage are they going to get?
Well, the AI will sift through it. No big deal.
If your footage is
I don't know on what basis.
If your footage is used in the final film, we'll contact you later in the year.
Well, you got a T-shirt?
No, you'll just know that you were in
Fame.
Life in a Day. Not to be confused.
Just a collection of vlogs. It's a collection of vlogs.
With good editing, it could be pretty amazing, right? You want to, Stacey, are you losing steam? She's resting her chin on her hand.
I am losing steam. I'm also not super interested in video documentaries.
I got something just for you.
Okay.
That's the Google Changelog.
Queso's calling. I smell the queso.
Queso's taking over TikTok? Grilled queso?
I want your expert judgments of this.
Do not start another changelog. I can't. Stacey will lose it. So this is what we were talking about. Is the video from the Meat Church?
So watch the. You gotta listen to what they're doing here.
Okay, put my sound on here.
20 ounces of fresh chorizo sausage, took it out of its casings, and I fried it in a skillet until it was nice and crispy. And then in a pan, I added an 8-ounce block of both pepper jack and cheddar, 3 chopped jalapenos, 1 diced red onion, the chorizo, 1 whole block of Velveeta, 2 cups of shredded Monterey Jack, 2 cups of shredded 4-cheese Mexican, and 1 10-ounce can of Serrano Rotel.
You got to have Rotel peppers, right, Stacey?
Rotel makes the queso.
Rotel makes the queso.
Keep going.
I think this gets the Stacey seal of approval. So far, anyway.
Drained. And then I put it on my Weber kettle with some picanha that we were cooking that night.
Yeah,
and I covered it so that the smoke would melt the cheese. And once the cheese started to melt, I stirred it all together until it was completely combined. And I cooked it covered until it was nice and smooth like this. And it turned out so amazing. It would be the perfect appetizer for barbecues.
Wow.
Oh.
So queso would be tremendously too much for barbecues, but queso and chips in general, just delicious. Delicioso.
Well, we know that. What about queso made on the barbecue? That's what's taken over TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
It's barbecue.
I'm excited about that.
This is the thing?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that's because of that Meat Church video. It certainly got my attention. Lori Gill has made it. She said it wasn't that smoky. So
it's all over my head.
You got a smoker, Ant? You could do it.
Oh, no. I don't have a smoker yet, but this video was all over my head. I'm thinking, what's new about that?
So Mike Masnick, our good friend, says it's hysteria, all of this anti-TikTok sentiment. There is a move by some of the TikTok investors in the U.S. to bring it to the U.S., to buy it away from the Chinese, from ByteDance, the Chinese owners. What do you think?
I really do enjoy that people are trying to be creative.
Very creative.
With TikTok.
It's TikTok's time, man.
But the song covers is what throws me off. I like when I see the things outside of people just lip syncing a song. Just give me something else.
You know how I know TikTok's big? Instagram is going to do...
Instagram's copying
it. Copying it. Well. They're going to do Reels. It'll launch in August.
So TikTok, they bought Musical.ly, and that's what Musical.ly was. It was a bunch of 12-year-old kids, girls, and some boys lip-syncing.
Into their hairbrush. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And so that's why it's so big. I mean, historically, the platform was people being silly lip-syncing songs.
I loved it. Nothing wrong with that.
So, yeah.
We just have to
they come by it honest is the point, I guess.
Yeah, they come by it honest. We should wrest it away from them and make it America.
Now, that I think is stupid, but that's all right.
That's my specialty. Wow, there is a lot of extra stuff here. What's the deal with this? A limited edition pairing featuring a box of house
that one
wine.
Not mine. Not mine.
White cheddar. It must be a Karsten. Cheddar Cheez-It crackers.
Has to be a Karsten.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Karsten.
Oh, I have the cans of house wine. We use them on as our little when I need I don't open a bottle of wine.
Oh, okay.
No. This is like my cooking tip. Because sometimes I don't want to be drinking because you know how I was like, oh, I'm so down because of the pandemic. I'm going to stop drinking as much so I'm happier.
Yeah.
If you do the can of wine, you don't feel bad about throwing it away when you're like done.
Oh, you use it for cooking, not drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'll drink it because you can always mix white wine with fizzy water and then you've got a spritzer and it's perfectly fine.
This is from I think a phenomenal website called Laughing Squid. Where else would you find a cute compilation of cats with lettuce on their heads? And there's 15 minutes of this, by the way. Cats with lettuce on their heads.
How did they get the cats to sit still with lettuce on their heads?
Apparently, lettuce has a soothing effect. They're very sleepy. Oh, I've had enough. I'm leaving. Well, if you're leaving, I guess I'll go too. But wait, there's a lettuce on
Spotlight is mine now.
I love it. Where'd you go? And here's something useful. How to make a face shield from a Krispy Kreme donut box.
Highly
That's
utilitarian.
useful.
I don't get the clear plastic on my Krispy Kreme boxes. They're all paper.
I feel you're going to be knocking into some walls, won't you?
You're being robbed here. Look at that. It's so easy. It works so well. And everybody says, "My, you smell delicious."
Your face will be sticky.
Scott Beale's Laughing Squid. Thank you, Scott, for some humor. Now, let's get to our picks of the week. Stacey, you start. Because you're going for Neo-wise, I can tell.
This is a camera mount for a telescope. So as part of my new house, we have a bald eagle's nest like 100 feet away.
Oh, nice.
And
wow.
I have an old Meade telescope from when I was a kid. So we hooked that up. We started, and I was like, oh, I wish I could take pictures so I could show people the bald eagle because it had a baby. So there's like a juvenile bald eagle and the two parents, and it's very cute. There used to be two juveniles.
You should put your Wise Cam in the nest there and just. So I can't. I was like, how can I take pictures? And lo and behold, Meade actually makes one of these, but it's not as good as this one. And this is only $19, which I'm sure Meade's is a little more expensive.
No, the Meade's was actually $19.99 on B&H. Right. Okay. So who knew?
Okay,
but. Yeah. So if you had, and this apparently works, people are using it with binoculars. I'm a little unclear on that, but sure. So yeah, this was my thing.
The key on this is it's got a special mount that allows you to slide the camera around so the camera's right on the oculus, the ocular of the device. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really and I would also say if you have like a young child and you want to get them excited about this kind of thing, it's also a nice way because kids really have a hard time coming up
they can't
with telescopes.
So nice.
That's not connected, but
no, that's a great pick. It's connected. It's my phone. Thank you, Stacey. Mr. Ant Pruitt.
Man, I had a hard time with my pick of the week.
So that's why you have 3 of them.
Yeah. I will mention John McWhorter again. I listened to his podcast. It's called Lexicon Valley. I don't know if y'all
has a podcast.
I love that. I love that.
I didn't know he had a podcast.
Nice.
It's so good. I love that guy.
Subscribing and right now.
I didn't know that was the guy y'all are talking about. I just made that connection. Or you made it.
Oh, he's so good. And it's just I listen to that because I learn a lot from it too, especially with the Black English and things like that and how it relates and just it's brilliant. But that was the main pick that I wanted to make sure I threw out there. So
say the name of the show again so I can put it in my pocket.
Lexicon Valley.
Lexicon Valley.
Property. Lexicon Valley.
Lexicon Valley. Nice. I love John McWhorter.
Yeah, he's so good.
Good. And I love.
But my other one is a Twitter pick. I'm gonna go with Trumpatine, and it's from a voiceover artist I know named Mr. Andy Harris, and he's just been having some fun with Donald Trump's tweets and reading them as Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. And the particular one that I shared this time, he brought his son in with him. His son is 4 years old, I think. And if you listen to the audio, he's really good at these voiceovers. And he's even gotten an endorsement from Mr. Mark Hamill on a couple of these things because he's done them so well.
Let's listen.
When he read the answers from a teleprompter, that means he was given the questions, just like Crooked Hillary. Never have seen this before.
He's whispering to the 4-year-old.
Be safe. In Joe Biden's America. In Joe Biden's America. He did not pass the test I aced. He should give it a try. Okay. Now it is bath time and bedtime. Aww. Oh, I'm afraid the bathtub will be quite operational when bath time arrives. Seriously, it's bath time.
Okay. Emperor Palpatrump or President Trumpatine. He can't make up his name. He make up his mind. It's Andy Harris, the Andy Harris on Twitter.
He is so funny. He's really good at this voiceover stuff.
Love it.
That's just a few of the things he's done.
Jeff, number, please.
Well, we could mention this one really quickly, that Amazon is now the #1 advertiser. Who would have thought?
Advertiser,
says Axios.
$7 billion. What?
I hardly see any Amazon ads.
Where would you see Amazon ads?
That's what I'm saying. They have a few commercials.
Huh. They're like bigger than Procter and Gamble? Wow.
Yeah. Comcast #2, AT&T #3. We got to mention an AT&T story because my wife is really mad. Procter & Gamble #4, Walt Disney #5, Alphabet, Google #6, Verizon #. And what do I see Google advertising? Some, but not much.
I see a lot of Google TV ads, but I haven't in a while. They used to advertise a lot on football.
But Amazon #1.
Wow.
Maybe on TikTok, some type of ads on TikTok, right?
Huh.
Because don't they have a big relationship?
I don't know. Speaking of AT&T, real quickly, my wife is enraged because she has a steam-powered phone still, and she's loyal to it because Apple refuses to make a tiny phone again, and she's enraged, and she wants a small phone, and they keep on making big phones, so she's holding on to it. And then yesterday, I got an email from AT&T saying, you have to give up your phone.
Wait, what? You don't have to give up your phone? What?
That's what AT&T said in the email. I have the email, and it sure made it seem. I sent it to her, and boy, did she get mad. You were going to have to give up your phone, that it just won't work soon. And then it turns out it's at least 1.5 years, and it's really for 3G phones. But are they trying to convince people with phones that would still work on the network to upgrade the phones? Is this a scam?
Shameful.
AT&T.
Shameful. Our mask of the week, Carson's mask of the week this week on Etsy, the LED fashion dust mask made from breathable fiber optic fabric with 12 colors in one. It is very affordable, only $21.99, and you can cycle through the colors as you walk.
It's just like Ant's background.
And they flash.
They flash.
The one today.
This is pretty cool.
If my mask is green, don't come near me. I'm pissed.
This is actually, I am encouraged by this because I think masks are going to become a fashion statement. They're going to become fun.
I saw a company this week that had matching masks and bow ties.
Perfect. Karsten should be getting some of those.
Actually, oh God, I should have said that to Karsten. Jesus, how could I have not? How could I have missed that?
Oh my God, that's a Karsten. Here are, according to USA Today, the 10 most popular face masks on Amazon. I wonder if Amazon bought.
I found it. I found it, Karsten.
Floral masks with bendable nose pieces.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah. Lots of people like the gator because you can pull it up.
You have a gator. I have several gators.
Yep. Simple black masks. All you need is a presidential seal, and you'll be right there in the oval. I don't know if I like these masks because it's got discharge valves for easy breathing, which means you're not protecting.
No, that's not. You're not supposed to do
anybody.
Yeah, that's not the one.
That's bad. Do not wear that mask. Oh, a little love heart mask. Gray mask with adjustable loops. Pleated flare. I like making my own mask, but these are quite nice. If you can't make your own.
I found the mask and bow ties for Carson. It's on the rundown.
Good. Well, we'll save it for next week. How about that?
Oh.
All right.
Sweet. Okay.
All right.
Jeff feels miffed.
Well, I don't.
He's doing that to be nice to you, Stacey, because you're.
I know.
Soft.
Because I'm falling asleep on my microphone, and I'm like, what can I order for dinner tonight? I'm getting hungry.
Ooh, not cooking tonight. We're gonna go out, huh? Eat out, take out, huh?
Well,
the good choice of takeouts on the island.
No, there's only like 20 restaurants, and like 11 of them are Italian.
It's like living in New Jersey.
It really it's the Texas. There were like a lot
of Tex-Mex.
Half of them were Tex-Mex. So this is like here, half of them are Italian.
What do you most miss eating from leaving Texas?
Oh my gosh, enchiladas.
So much.
Just good enchiladas.
Oh yeah. Well, you can make those. Those aren't hard to make, are they?
I miss mole. So mole is hard to make.
Mole is hard to make. That is hard
I miss
to make.
it.
A good mole is a real art form. They don't share the.
I can't imagine a Seattle mole would be very good. No.
From the former art director of 9 Inch Nails, masks, movie monster masks, to really scare the pants off the people. Oh, that's really terrifying. Yikes.
Weirdos.
Scary masks. Scary, scary. I'm sorry if I'm giving you bad dreams. Don't look at that. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look.
Such a weirdo.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Stacey to have some queso. So we've got to say so long. We do Twit every Wednesday, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, 20:30 UTC. You can watch us live or listen live. They're live streams at twit.tv/live. If you're doing that, the chat room's great. irc.twit.tv. They're joking along with the rest of us. Lots of great stuff in there. You can also get on-demand versions of the show at our website, twit.tv/twig. On YouTube, there's video there. In fact, there's a whole Twig channel on YouTube. But the best thing to do would be subscribe. That way you'd get it automatically on your phone every time it's available. It's there. Always subscribe if you can. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Stacey Higginbotham. Don't forget Stacey on IoT. Tuesday's the event. So go there right now. Sign up for the Connected event.
Sounds like a great event.
It really sounds good.
It's going to be fun.
They're better and better and better. What wig will you be wearing on that one?
Oh, I might have my natural hair, although maybe I'll use this one.
That's pretty good.
I need a new wig, but you have to go in person to get them, and that's not happening.
Oh, yeah. To get them fitted?
Got to get them fitted.
Oh, really?
Well, you have to make sure they fit your face first, and then you have to they have little straps on the back.
That's
Mine
probably
are
what's
super
wrong
fancy.
with the wig buying I've been doing. They don't have anything. They look like the Three Stooges. That's Aunt Pruitt. Catch him on Hands On Photography and Hands On Wellness. And, of course, back here every Wednesday along with Stacey and this cat right here, Jeff Jarvis, professor. I lost your credit roll.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, you can't lose that thing because there's no way you can memorize.
How could I lose it? That's what I don't know.
We need to get him a Linotype set kind of thing.
There you go.
I didn't even show you this. I'm very proud of. My wife got this for me.
Look at that.
Oh, it even says Linotype. Very nice.
Yeah. I love that machine. I'm telling you, people.
How many do you have on your desk?
He is Mr. Awesome. He's all about journalism. If you ever get to see,
I've got the typometer up there.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
I've got a little tiny Gutenberg press over there.
Wow.
You can see it.
Okay, everybody, guess what Jeff does for a living?
A typometer.
You're exactly right. He's a hand model.
Plays chess.
Yeah. Jeff Jarvis.
This is the history of type.
On a foldable ruler for some reason. For reasons no one
How
understands.
geeky is this?
That's really weird.
Pretty geeky,
no,
but cool.
No one knows what that is.
If you ever get to go to the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism, Stacey at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the University of New York. In the lobby, they have the best manual typewriter collection ever. It's awesome.
We do, in fact. Yes, we do.
Excellent.
It's really
My
cool.
favorite one is a typewriter called the Bing.
I see you have a machine that goes bing. Leonard Tao, Professor for Journalistic Innovation, ladies and gentlemen, at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York, Mr. Jeffrey Jarvis. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you putting up with us for, 2.5 hours. We'll come back and do it.
That's aimed at you, Stacey.
We'll come back and do it again next week. What do you say? All right, everybody
Believe it or not.
All right. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Jason Howell, host of All About Android. Each week, I'm joined by my co-hosts Ron Richards and Florence Ion, as well as a whole rotating cast of guests, journalists in the Android space, experts, developers, and even people working on Android behind the scenes at Google. We talk about everything that has to do with Android, and you don't want to miss a single episode so you know what's going on behind the scenes. That's twit.tv/AAA. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode.